Mormon were punctual.
Flip, those were some magnificent racial slurs you were just saying.
I
Yeah.
know. That was my top 10 favorite.
I'll never tell anybody all those horrible things you said.
That just made me think of that Norm Macdonald bit where he's like, Chinaman. Of all the racial slurs, that seems like the best one. It's just because, I mean, that you're a Chinese man. Okay.
I know, what a lazy racial slur.
Dang
John
it.
Mulaney said he was teased with that one when he was a kid because he had buck teeth and a bullhead haircut, so they kept calling him Chinaman. And he's like, is that insulting?
That's so funny. I heard a good joke from him this week, and I done forgot it. Every time I hear a Norm joke, I say, I'm going to remember that forever so I can repeat it and be the life of the party. And I always forget them. I think you have to be Norm to say them anyway.
You kind of do.
I was surprised because there was a joke that Super Dave told on Norm's show, but then I heard it on Sopranos. Paulie told it on Sopranos, and that surprised me. I assumed that was a Super Dave original, but
Well, who was the original one who said it?
I don't know because I mean maybe Sopranos wrote it, maybe Paulie wrote it. Let's see.
Did you see Polly became a few years ago like an alt-right meme?
No. What was that one?
Like it was he was like the face of Holocaust denial memes for the.
No.
Yeah, you'll still see him every. It's always like, hey, don't. I'm just saying 6 million is too many. They're funny enough formats, you know.
Question: Can I?
I saw a funny thing on Twitter this week. Maybe I'll pull it up. But this guy was talking about the Emperor's New Clothes, right? Mm-hmm. And the whole Emperor's New Clothes thing is like the real truth of the Emperor's New Clothes thing is that if that kid said that stuff, the family would get ostracized and killed and that sort of stuff. He wouldn't be like, thank you. But I guess the original story, the kid did get thrown in the oven. And so that really was the original story. And then I saw all these people go into like a long jag of questioning the oven story, but linking it to that meme that you're saying, like, wait, so how many ovens were you saying there were in Britain at that time? How many this, you know, they're kind of going off this whole long jag off of I don't believe the story of the ovens. Yeah, there's always an oven claim, you know. So like
the one that gets me is the wooden doors one. You know, have you heard that one?
Yeah, you couldn't have sealed them in with wooden doors.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking? Have you never heard of people dying of carbon monoxide poisoning in their very wooden houses?
Yeah, everybody knows that houses are perfectly hermetically sealed. That's why that's why there's no oxygen in the morning when you go to bed.
That was just like immediately like, wait a minute, you're fucking dumb.
So wait, am I going full Twitch here? I'm testing and I'm sharing this. Did it work? I did the share screen to the video game.
Oh, I just haven't added it.
Oh, can we do that? Can we go?
I have to add in. If you guys ever want to run from this end, just let me know. You guys can run the show if you want to run one.
What game are you playing? Is it Civ?
Civ 6, yeah.
But are we not seeing the Civ 6, or are you just not?
I don't. So I'm sharing it. I thought I put it up.
I see your cursor, but I'm just
every once in a while it seems like there's some sort of like censorship on stuff. Like there was a day, and I didn't know until afterwards. I thought I was showing you guys a TikTok video, and the TikTok video just wasn't there. And I was like, that 100% showed. And I'm not talking about the ones where I screw it up. There was one where I was on the thing and it should have been playing, and it was playing for me.
That's weird.
And I came back and it's like it'd been censored from here, and you guys just weren't even seeing it.
Weird.
But I think that one was a software thing like you have going on right here. Like every once in a while they have like some sort of like blocker crap.
And it's always weird I never really use my desktop until streaming days. And it's always funny to go back and see where I ended up on YouTube. Like I pull up YouTube, I was like, why the fuck was I watching Billy Joe Armstrong sing on Howard Stern?
I got into a whole conversation with a girl this week thanks to my YouTube deep dives. And I just barely watched a video about how dentists commit the most suicide. And then I ran into a girl at the dog park and said, what do you do? And she goes, I work at a dentist thing. And I'm like, suicide.
Have you ever heard of self-deletion?
Well, it's probably because people don't accept them as dentists properly. Look, your game's on, Flip.
So, yeah, when I switched back to that, it's on. But if I go back to playing, wait, yeah.
If people
If I
would
go back, is
accept,
it still there?
No, it's gone now.
Nope,
That's
no.
weird. So if I'm actually playing, it doesn't work. But if I switch back, it's there. Wow, that's dumb.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
just
there's
kinda
something copyrighted, like
flickering.
in the music or something.
No, well, I mean, I've muted all the sound, but
I don't know.
I have a story to tell you guys because I thought it was funny, which is that I had the most Grandpa Simpson moment this last week because the laptop Chris lent me to podcast with had troubles, so I took it down to the mall to the Apple store to get it repaired. And so like when I'm pulling into the parking lot of the mall, I was even having the sound like, wow, I have not been in a mall for a long time. And as I'm going in, I'm like, because I haven't been there in a long time, and I don't know where the Apple Store is. So I'm like, well, that's no problem, because like you just find that little kiosk, and it has a directory on one side and a map on the other. And so I look around and I see like this kiosk that says information on top, and I walk up to it, and it's just a screen playing an advertisement, and it had like a Wi-Fi logo and nothing else. And I just stood there for 5
You
minutes.
didn't realize it was.
I was just flummoxed. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I'm 43 years old, and I got lost at the mall. I didn't know. So like I did the only thing I knew how to do. I just started walking.
Just walk. Just keep walking.
Because then I found another information kiosk, and it had a QR code, and I know how to work QR code. And so it took me to a website.
That's pretty good. I barely know how to work QR.
You know what pisses me off is like I went to the mall one time. It was too early. I was gonna get a new longboard, and I was like, oh, let me go see what their hours are. And I walk up to the thing where it says hours, and it just has a fucking QR code on it. Like mall hours QR code. It's like, wait a minute, this is just extra steps. You could just write it on the goddamn thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand why, like, technology is supposed to take steps away, not add them, right?
No.
Well, apparently, because I talked to Mrs. Doodles, I told her that story, and she said that thing that I was flummoxed by, apparently it's a touch screen. All I had to do was touch the advertisement, and it would have like brought up a screen. But the problem is, it was like an advertisement of like a young girl cosmetic ad, and so I'm like, well, I can't touch this like human-sized image.
Oh, see,
I get in the mall.
I get the opposite because I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I was showing my 2-year-old something the other day. It was like a Game Boy or something that I pulled out of. And he kept trying to touch the screen and getting mad when it wouldn't do anything. He's like, "What the fuck even is this?
Like, what is this, a rock?" Yeah, I guess a Game Boy for him is like the equivalent of the stick and ball game.
Yeah, I know.
Or cup and ball.
Let's see. We got Christopher. We got Savvy D. We got Timothy Jones. What's good? What's good? Hey, they use the QR code because the hours are dynamic.
Oh.
Saw Bogosian interviews this week. Bogosian's been killing it. Has anybody noticed like Dawkins been making the rounds, like suddenly very brave about the trans issue? Like
I saw him talking to Helen Joyce.
I didn't see that.
Joyce?
He talked with Bogosian and Helen Joyce, and the subject
I didn't see
largely
the
trans
one.
stuff on both.
I heard somebody bitching about it on Twitter. I did see Neil deGrasse Tyson having a very brave stance on the transes.
Is that some kind of irony?
Oh yeah, did you not see that?
Have you not seen it? Would you like to watch it?
Better bring it up.
Oh yeah, you gotta.
Oh boy. Let's see.
He kind of did the same thing because
Do I go to the Gad Sad one or to that girl that?
I haven't watched the Gad Sad one yet. I saw that.
It's just the Gad Sad like hiding
just
under
being a douche. Yeah.
Yeah. I love when he does it, but it's also like the same joke again and again, and I like it.
He's such a fucking dick, but he's funny as hell.
Yeah. I'll pull it from that Twitter thread.
That's why anytime he got all butthurt that Lex Friedman blocked him, and I was like, look, man, I'm basically a non-intellectual version of you, and a lot of people block me, and I get it.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up. Okay, coming. So much. There's actually tons of stuff.
It's kind of just him putting his foot in his mouth. It's the funniest shit because he he's so clumsy about it. People who want to be on the right side of history but are pretty clumsy about it and don't do anything, they just resort to like just gender stereotypes, and that's the only thing I can think of.
This is Wesley Yang. He's a good follow on Twitter. He's the guy who came up with the idea of successor beliefs. James Lindsay calls it what? He calls it, what's his term for it? Does he even have like a general term now? Rob Henderson calls it luxury beliefs. He calls it successor beliefs. There's been all these just different, woke is the thing that won. But then, of course, people throw tantrum about calling it woke. But all along, there was always people trying to come up with what to call this thing. I called it the nothing for a long time. The leftism or whatever that's going on. Don't call it Gnosticism.
You're gonna piss off Sasha or whatever his name is.
Yeah, is that guy for real? I don't think he's for real.
He's got 7 friends or something like that.
Whoa, that's a lot of friends.
Yeah, he's obviously like a fake account. But we've been getting into it with somebody who's been mad at James Lindsay on the Latter-day Lobster site.
See, I wasn't even getting into it with the James Lindsay thing because I have a hard time caring about the Gnosticism thing. It doesn't, and I haven't read as much about it or listened to the James Lindsay stuff about it. It's just that he's so perplexed that people treat him like he's a dick, but he's always a dick. And so
James Lindsay's perplexed?
No. This dude on
Sasha.
He was just like, I can't believe they're not engaging with me in good faith. And like, you're an ass, man.
Yeah,
and also you're not engaging in good faith, dumbass. Like,
yeah.
The thing about the Gnosticism that James Lindsay's talking about is you don't have to learn that much about it. His point is just that these wackadoos kind of believe this stuff and they believe a mangled up version of it. And you can go back to way in the beginning of time and maybe pretend that you believe all that stuff, the stuff coming from Plotinus and Neoplatonism and all that sorts of deal, which all stems from Plato. And it's been around for 2,000 years. And there's been a billion versions of it. And I think it's all kind of bupkis. But also, even Jung jumps off that stuff. That's why he was pointing at Peterson, so Peterson has to be kind of a Neoplatonist a little bit. But those utopians use it for their culty versions, and they weave it into all their writings. So you can, when they're doing these like weird things and saying these weird things, it just helps you to understand that they're weaving in those weird ideas. So stuff will seem a little bit more demystified of like, what's this thing that sounds like magic? One of the reasons Hegel sounds like such mystical magic is because he weaved in all those things into it. And it's just not, you don't really need to know that much about it, except for these yabos believe it and think it's some sort of true thing. They work it in to sound extra mystical.
Well, because I'm thinking about how my whole view of feminism for a long time and like all the stuff that you talked about in grad school. Because you'd hear these ideas come out and you're like, well, no, these are just intellectuals playing with ideas. And it's like, and it took me a long time to realize, like, oh no, they are really 100% entirely serious. Like, this isn't just a thought experiment or anything like that. No, this is what they're doing. This is what they believe. There's no other way about it.
This is also one of the games that's eternal in the world of philosophy and religion. In a couple different ideas. One is you can't criticize my thing unless you're 100% believer in it. That's philosophy, postmodernism, Mormonism, whatever. Don't criticize my thing unless you buy it wholesale. Anybody who buys it wholesale can say kind of what they want about it. And then the second thing is if you go trying to like give a genealogy or say what all the different ideas are, no, you don't know, you're an idiot. And so if Marx was the one who scrambled up Hegel, and you described Marx, you're the idiot for scrambling up Hegel. Does that make sense? Like that's something that happens in all thought and all philosophy.
Postmodernist, neo-Marxist.
Somebody else scrambled it up. It's your fault. No, I'm describing the scrambled person, but not that the original stuff wasn't scrambled crap too. It's just they scrambled the scrambled crap. And I'm just trying to describe scrambled crap, and there's 2 different versions of the scrambled crap, and you're going to assign all the errors to me. Like deconstruction as it was understood by Judith Butler. She mangled the deconstruction of Derrida. She mangled it up. But then if you go and describe deconstruction as one or the other, you're the idiot, because no, it's the other one. No, it's the other one. No, it's their error. It's their category error. It's their scramble. It's their screw up. We're just trying to describe the things so the rest of us don't have to imagine that you guys have secret super knowledge that's here to save our world for us. You know?
All right, you gotta show this. This is amazing. This is intellectual power.
Apparently, the XXXY chromosomes are insufficient because when we wake up in the morning,
Jared and I said this in the thread, but I just think it's true. Sometimes these guys are trying to say it as true believers or people who kind of just don't half know the whole story. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson knows that he doesn't believe this, but he's got to hold this line for some reason. He's trying to make it work.
He's a pop scientist, emphasis on the pop.
And he knows the pop relies on it, but he's a smart enough scientist that he knows this is all kind of bunk. But I'm gonna try because I gotta tell this line.
Well, he doesn't even bother, because if I were gonna do that shtick, if I were gonna be a fraud hack for clout's sake, so that I don't lose my fame, I'm gonna look up at least the best steel man of this dog shit argument that I can, and he doesn't. He's just well, how come women don't always wear makeup? It's probably because they're kind of male.
we exaggerate whatever feature we want to portray the gender of our choice.
How about we stop confusing basic human biology with cosmetics? What a weird jump. If I don't wear makeup most days. If I leave the house without makeup on, does that make me 70% male?
Somewhere, I think I read that the United States was a land where we have the pursuit of happiness.
It was only truly about aesthetics.
This is America. This is America. This is America.
Obama.
This is America.
What the hell is he's so bad at sarcasm too.
Well, that's one of the angles. Oh, I've got one printed up where somebody did a fake retort to Dawkins and Helen Joyce. I got to pull that one up because it's kind of just perfect. Oh.
It's my business because you're using 1950s gender stereotypes to justify an ideology that leads to the sterilization and mastectomies of 15-year-old girls who just don't fit in. Girls like me.
Suppose no matter my chromosomes, today I feel 80% female, 20% male. I'm gonna put on makeup. I'm gonna do that. Tomorrow I might feel 80% male.
I wonder what his gender was when you recorded this.
But do it, Neil.
He doesn't have a muscle shirt on, right?
Put on makeup. Prove to me that gender is a spectrum. Put on some fucking lipstick, man.
No spray tan. No falsies. It's probably 50% male.
This is a detransitioner talking here too.
I'll remove the makeup and I'll wear a muscle shirt. Why do you care?
Yeah.
What business is it of yours to require that I fulfill your inability to think of gender on a spectrum?
He's
Because the
doing
only thing we
Darvo. This is
established-
Darvo. He's totally reversing the whole thing. It's why should I care about your gender identity? Explain that. Why are you telling me that I'm a bigot if I don't care?
Theo is that.
This is all something Doc has noticed talking with Helen Joyce, which you're glad he knows. You're glad anybody notices, but he points out that they reified the stereotype. So the stereotype means the gender now, and the body doesn't.
Men wear trousers and tank tops, but women, they wear lipstick and dresses. The idea that people can be percentages of either male or female just further reinforces the fact that biological sex is a binary. There's only two. There may only be two sexes, but there are an infinite number of personalities. I mean, it really doesn't take a degree in astrophysics to understand that.
Heather and Brett had a good conversation there. I think they clipped it out. It's about like the RuPaul show, but they talked about like how we actually seem to have done better at this in the 80s, back when you had people like David Bowie and all those people around it. Like, we were perfectly fine with people gender bending stuff and being like a male who could be really feminine and all that stuff. And I knew RuPaul when I was a kid in the 80s.
Boy George and Culture Club was what, 1984?
Yeah.
Like, nobody cared.
Yeah.
So this is the fake retort. This is a ripping on a Twitter style retort. Person who's pretending to be a penguin here. Let me tell you why Richard Dawkins is wrong about biology. Buckle up, folks. It's going to be a wild ride. 237, a clownfish. Noted YouTuber Jackson Wagon, who exists, said so. 437, insert insulting misunderstanding of sexual development disorders here. 537, insert misunderstanding of what a spectrum is here.
Oh, that's my favorite. That is, I want to go get a degree in statistics just so I can have the credentialism required to explain the difference between spectrums, bimodal distributions, and binary distributions. Like, that's the dumbest. Go on.
What, are you a Nazi? 637, another gift this time. Catfish. 637, oh yeah, banana slugs. We saw these exact comments come out of what's his name on Zelf on the Shelf, Tanner. I mean, he talked like exactly.
Oh yeah, when he talks about how, you think that it's just XY chromosome. Did you know that some birds have chromosomes that are shaped like Z's
some frogs
instead?
Can change sex, man.
And yes, like, I feel like we're talking about humans. I think we are. I think that was where we started this.
1037, I can't believe you hate X groups and are denying their existence, you monster. 1037, you have literally gone and erased my existence. Michael Phelps, look at him go. You will make my kitty sad. Look into his eyes. 47, McRaven, fault. I wasn't planning on this. 537, they're just running out of arguments. Albanian versions. Asparagus. And I'm really, really done talking about this. Yeah, another clownfish. You and me both, clownfish. Educate yourself. Insert insulting misunderstanding of various indigenous cultures here. Famous trans man.
I like the joke about. I like the joke about albino whatever, because that makes me think of every time there's one of these like obvious diversity pushes for accepting different types of bodies. They'll always attach like certain types of bodies that there's actually not really a stigma against, and if there were, you would want to fight the stigma against them. Things like I was at the gas station the other day. This guy pulled up and was filling his gas up, and he had like crazy vitiligo. Like, I hadn't seen it that much before, and it hit me that every time I see one of these like diversity animations that these lefties always do, there's always a guy with a lot of vitiligo, and I'm like, wait a minute. Are people shitting on this guy for his skin issue? Like, does anybody care? Usually people are just kind of interested. They might look a little too much, but like, what are you going to do? You're seeing something that's you don't see every day. They do the same thing. There's always that. And there's always like a woman in a hijab with a prosthetic leg. I'm like, what? Nobody's making fun of people with prosthetic legs.
Every time I see that, I just go and immediately kick her crutches out from under her. Like, it's just I can't stop myself.
I know. And then there's a morbidly obese woman with a wiener in there and like tit scars or whatever. And you're always like, oh, these are the same thing. I don't make fun of amputees. Like, why? Like, I think that they're totally valid. Obviously, trans identities are heckin' valid too.
It really seems like, I mean, it's like people who never matured past grade school. Because, like, little kids will make fun of every little difference that you see, and then you mature and you grow up, or you just stay woke.
Just stay woke.
I mean,
it looks like he gassed out. It looks like he overshot with 37. But famous trans man, Joan of Arc here. Famous trans man, Elizabeth I here. Famous dead trans woman print. Hyenas. Famous dead trans woman David Bowie. Can't believe no one likes the photo of my cats. I'm committed now. I'm gonna get to the end. That's just kind of making fun of how a Twitter responder usually reacts to that. However, anyway,
Are we doing sound?
no, I haven't switched anything.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to
So,
find.
Yo, the
something-
Dawkins thing is just playing. He's talking about gamete size, which, as I've learned, is actually a very transphobic thing to say. Because if there's anything that I've learned, it's that advanced biology says, "Hey, all that stuff you learned in simple biology, it's all a complete lie. None of
What's
it's
the
true.
social construct, don't you know?
It's a social construct." But they always have that meme going around where they're like, "Oh, you guys, yeah, you got that simple biology." Advanced biology is like, did advanced biology tell me that males produce large gametes or that they can't like that? Because it's the simplest way. And I love that. That's actually the easiest way to define what a male is and a female is the side of the species that produces small gametes versus large gametes. It's like the most based foundational claim that you can make about it. And that's not always. What about women that can't produce eggs or whatever? I was like, they clearly have genetic issues. I don't want to explain this anymore, I think is what I'm saying. We need to move on and not talk about trans issues not as a podcast, but as a world.
There's the debate between Sitchin Adam and Kyle Kalinske and what's her name Hill from what's that called? From that other podcast of kind of famous lefties, but they got into this whole thing, and it's kind of funny to me how like Kalinske and this other gal just recently did research on all the stuff, and so they regurgitate the research from the American whatever association, all that stuff. And they said, well, so we read here, and it looks like hormones. Childhood hormones are completely reversible, and this and that and the other, and it says most kids who go through this thing are happy, and all that sort of stuff. So like they have like a list of sources that they can go down that say, here the sources say that this stuff's all good idea. And to me, it's such an obvious thing where those things are pee hacking things.
Oh, for sure. Well, I listened to part of that, and it kind of struck me because I haven't listened to Kyle Kalinske in a long time, so I don't remember much about him. But he actually sounded like he was trying to be pretty honest, I thought. And one of he kept adding these little addendums in there that, like he said, that puberty blockers they're totally reversible most of the time. Sometimes they'll really fuck with bone density. Like he added that little caveat. I was like, yeah, that's a big fucking deal, man. You're giving children osteoporosis.
They do a lot worse than that. If you listen to Billboard Chris run down the list, and it's a new experiment too. You only halfway know.
I don't know how you gloss over that. I don't know how you say. Yeah. Sometimes it kind of interferes with bone density. Are you kidding? That's huge.
Minimizes it. So there's this thing called Jonathan taught it to us, the therapeutic cascade. And the therapeutic cascade is you get started on some sort of therapy, you're going to report way high agreeance with that therapy because there's no turning back. Like if I suddenly got on steroids or something like that, I would have to say, I really like this and I'm going to roll this out because there's no backwards. You know what I mean? You can't go the other way because if you go the other way, your hormones are just going to fall the hell apart and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, it's a sunk cost fallacy. That's everywhere, man.
But it's in therapy where it just happens as soon as so one of the warning signs of it is the fact that there is just such a sudden jump in report, because most of the kids desist, but then they're saying that all the kids who start down that therapeutic path, almost 99% of them are saying that they love it. That's a therapeutic cascade. It should be less if it were real. If that makes sense. Like you can't have that. If they're saying that many, that's a warning sign of a therapeutic cascade, because everybody's like, well, I'm on this path now. I got to go through it. So the thing is making people have to buy in and stay in, and hold into it. But what really kind of blows my mind with all of it, because I hear those guys talk and I hear other people talk, and they have to like look up, can surgery really make a man all the way a woman? And there's I think our surgery and our stuff's a couple years off of that to put like
a couple of years.
Like even if they made like a working uterus,
Holy
it's still
Christ.
not making like a woman. If that makes
Yeah,
any
how
sense.
do you like?
It
turns out we can't actually fashion legitimate functioning ovaries out of your foreskin or whatever.
But what melts my mind about that, and even the hormones thing, is like it's all that hatchling thing. Like every one of these things are like, how are you guys this old on this planet? And that those questions are up in the air to you. How did you get through life and not know that your friends all around you who went on different hormones, if they ever did go on hormones, that it messed them up, and it's not something you should be tossing random kids onto, or
well, just the hatchling things. Like, I mean, it's sort of off topic, but it's just an example of the hatchling thing that just struck me was a couple of years ago when there was that bogus report about Border Patrol whipping Haitian immigrants at the Mexican border. And because like my first thought is like, since when do cops carry whips?
Yeah.
Like, why would they have whips? You know? And then like, I mean, that was literally my first thought. Cause like, you know, because skeptical, benefit of the doubt. I'm perfectly aware
if they wanted to whip
of police
on
brutality.
poor Mexicans, whips
Like,
wouldn't be the most convenient thing to do.
Yeah, but like really, they're like, oh hey, everybody, go back to the squad car and get your whip.
Yeah,
cops don't have whips.
Fucking Indiana Jones style.
Exactly. Yeah, like what fucking planet are you
this is the ultimate. So Sam Cedar, there was a bunch of debates this week. We had Jacob Hansen debated Seth, who's been on this channel, and that one was interesting enough. But we had a Sam Cedar debated twice, once with Adam Sitch, once with Actual Justice Warrior, and then there was a debate between Jank and PBD, and there was some debate. Destiny was on Michael Malice's channel.
Yeah, actually watched that
was
one.
really debate. What was the other debate? There was another one. Anyway, they were interesting enough, but this is another example of the hatchling, because Sam Cedar plays the hatchling all the time. And one of their favorite things to do is to accuse people of that stochastic terrorism stuff, which is like if you guys bring on some person like Hoagland, the girl who Tim Pool had on, she accused Tim Pool's channel of creating that murderer guy. And then AJW,
the Mexican Nazi.
The Mexican Nazi who went on a mass shooting, it was their fault because he was.
Emma Vigeland.
Yeah. And AJ, Actual Justice Warrior, took that on and took them down, and even talked about how there was a shooting of some cops that was directly cited, directly linked to the Young Turks and all that.
Right. The guy made a YouTube, showed a clip of the Young Turks,
repeated what they said.
I'm gonna be the guy.
Emma Vigeland is going to be one of the best lol cows we've seen in the last decade. Like, if they don't drop her, which they absolutely should, she's embarrassing to them. But if they don't, which I hope they don't, we're going to get some great stuff from her.
Well, you know, the thing that scares me, though, is because you say, oh, what a lol cow. But, like, the word didn't exist back then. But I'm just guessing that there were people in 1932 going like, oh, that Hitler.
Hitler's a lol cow.
What a dope.
So, but here's how Sam Cedar played the new hatchling. Their whole thing has been for almost 8 years now to blame anybody for anything that's said or done in an audience, right? And that everything their platforming could lead to violence, right? So Sitch and Adam ask him, because he comes on and he starts talking about, they say to him, all of your talk about fascism, you got a fascist country right now, and this sorts of stuff, seems like you're asking people to incite them to violence. So Sam Cedar turns into the new hatchling. He goes, wait. You know, starts asking the questions. You're saying that me talking to an audience and whatever any one of those persons in that audience says or does, that's my fault because I'm talking to a large audience. Like their whole game for 8 years. Now he's sitting there repeating it back like he's never come across this concept. You know, that's the new hatchling. It's such a load of crap, you know.
Well, and I love it when they were like, do you not think that if you actually convince somebody that this is a fascist no winning game, that they might feel justified in violence. And he's like, well, I'd tell them it wasn't effective. Like, that's not what we're fucking asking, buddy. That's a little bit concerning that you're like, well, it wouldn't work. If you just start killing people, it wouldn't work. Okay, well, what if it did work, Sam?
Yeah.
Like just today on Thoughtful Saints, because I'm pushing back against some of Jacob's dumb ideas, and like I'm going back and forth with like some other third person I don't even know, and he's like, why are you even doing this? And I'm like, well, because I hope to change his mind. I think he's wrong. He's like, why are you trying to change people's minds about things? Like,
that's one of the first things I got talking about trans stuff back on Lindsay Hanson's art posts or whatever, feminist Mormon housewives that have been long.
Literally, how does it even affect you?
Yeah, literally, why are you talking about this? Why are you commenting this? I'm like, we're all here on the internet commenting on this, you boobs.
yeah,
If you don't like it, you can just scroll on by.
I'm interested in things happening in my world. Like I'm talking,
I had a thought on a thing, and I saw it, and it's in a place where I'm.
Oh, that's adorable of you as a cis, straight, white passing male. It's just, this can all be hypothetical to you, but to us, it's real world experience.
The other thing is like things like that and all that sort of stuff, or Dan McClellan. If Dan McClellan starts, he suddenly like explains to people about gender categories. And that's almost kind of like a new hatchling thing too. And it's like, Dan McClellan, we've all been here the past 6-7 years online. We know what you guys claim it is.
Well, sure, but he has a doctorate in gender, right? I'm losing track of all of his doctorates.
So it's like almost like a new hatchling thing that they re-explain it to us. Like, come on, dude. We all know we're all here.
At Harvard, and he's an expert now.
Yeah, it's just I need to keep it. I want to keep track of all the different things he's claimed to be an expert in. In fact, that's actually pretty easy.
That would be a good list to keep.
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
Because it's anything that's ever ended up in any one of his papers that now officially makes him a domain expert in that thing.
Jeez.
I think it's kind of funny because I was thinking just before, like I've read all of Nietzsche, right? I've read every word of like all of Nietzsche's books. That makes me a Nietzsche expert. No, it does not. Like I read them all once. I've made sure that I read them all once, and I can kind of regurgitate maybe 10% of the thoughts, maybe on a good day to you. And maybe if you reminded me of something, like, oh yeah, I remember that in that book. Like just because like you come across something, you've read something, you've seen something, or you put it in a paper. And so in my papers, in my graduate school papers, I mentioned Rousseau. I read through some Rousseau. I read one of his books all the way through once. I'm not like Rousseau expert because I read through that book once and pulled a quote out of it and put it in a graduate school paper. But Dan McClellan is Dan McClellan. Want to know what the word of the day is?
Yes, I do.
It's 147. Why 147?
Because we're talking about Bill Reel.
Not just Bill Reel. I'm going to go to somebody first before Bill Reel, but that's part of why it's 147.
Man, I'm so excited.
Pee-wee passed.
We could play a game called like The Price is Right, the IQ is right. Like who can guess the woke apologist's claimed IQ?
No. That's why 147. That's why 147 is the word of the day, because the answer is 147. You just got to find out which one of the people have said it, because every single time there's something about like this generation of people, they all announce that their IQ is 147. There's something about that number. I've heard it from a bunch of different bloviating blowhards. And one of the person who claims 147, can you think of another 147er out there?
Are we talking in Mormon world?
Dan, Bill,
Florida. You might have heard it before if this is a 147 claimer, and I promise you it's 147. It is. Come on, thing, show up on my screen.
Did somebody change their name again? Is Timothy Jones Frank Sinatra?
I think we're Edge Barb here.
I think,
Or Edgid Barb?
I think so.
Wait, he's guessing John Larson, but I don't. I think John Larson is actually smart enough to never announce his IQ.
Yeah, no, I mean that's
It's Owen Benjamin.
Oh man.
Okay, here's the thing.
guys.
Owen Benjamin might actually be an insane genius or something like that. I don't know because
I don't even
No.
like dispute the number that bad. Like it's like if you
So
hit
is this
147
real?
on some test, it's not like that bad. This is real.
this is real. He actually is like
So
saying
Owen
that he's a
Benjamin is
descendant
from
of Joseph Smith.
Oswego, New York. You know where that is? Like something
Somewhere upstate, I don't know.
upstate
No,
New
but
York.
is that
His
like
last
an AI
name,
rendering of
Owen
Joseph Smith?
Benjamin's last name is Smith, right?
No, I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, Owen Benjamin's his middle name. It's a stage name. Owen Benjamin, Choice. Okay. Are you what screen?
Why does it? Is that just me that's getting lag?
Oh no,
I
he was
think
looking for
so.
something right there. I think.
He was. I think you. It might have just been you getting that. So look, here's his Wikipedia. His last name is Smith,
Oh.
and oh, look at this. He got kicked out of Twitter for calling Obama the N-word.
That was such a sad sort of fall into insanity.
Well,
Yeah,
that's what I
it
was
was-
saying. Is this his guy? I've been following a channel that follows him as if they're following like how a cult leader creates himself, because you've heard like the whole Bertaria thing and all that sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
He created like this utopian society where all these different bears would go. That's why my name is Woodland Creature Bear, and Papa. We'll get to Papa soon. Papa Bear, Papa Woodland Creature Bear.
When I met Dick Bear, he wore a trucker cap that said Papa Bear on it that had a cross on it. You know who I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
He's Dick Bear was he along with Ed Decker and another guy made the God Makers.
Oh,
And he lived in my mission, and so we went to go talk to him. We went to go meet the devil. He's a really nice guy.
Where is the Joseph Smith stuff? This is Oswego. It's in New York. It's upstate New York, right in here, and that's where Owen Benjamin is from. He talks about it all the time. He talks about his old, weird, super old roots right there. So that's all true. So anyway, he comes across this thing of Joseph Smith's face.
Oh god.
And notices his name is Smith. And then he starts talking about he thinks maybe he's related to Smith because it goes back through like this McGowan family or something like that. That's let's see what he says. Bean Spilling Thriller is him on Instagram. And he says, I kind of think I might be related to Joseph Smith. He looks like me. He could be my relative. And I didn't realize he came from McGowan's. Like me and my grandfather, his name was literally Joseph Smith. I mean, I'm not putting my batting average on it, and there isn't direct evidence, but his facial features look a lot like people in my family.
That's not even a real picture, though, is it? That's just an AI rendering, right?
No, it's kind of like an AI-ish one, but it's a version of that newer, realer picture that everybody keeps confirming.
Yeah, I guess.
So it's Saints Unscripted just barely did one like 2 hours ago saying that there's like some extra super proof that that's got to be Joseph Smith from a bunch of dog arrow types or who knows what. You've seen that newer picture, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Owen, I'm a McGowan Smith. I wish I could tell you everything I found. First off, it appears we were a priestly clan. It also appears we got disnad and disbursed for being too true to our roots at the end of the 1400s. It appears there are deep spiritual gifts, bloodlines. It's the clan Joseph Smith came from. You most certainly have the gift of prophecy, which is primarily foretelling way more than foretelling. You are a truly brilliant forth-teller. You also have the McGowan understanding of Zion Bertaria. It may be the main reason McGowans were diaspora and most definitely a huge source of opposition. I think you unlocking the secret of humor is what possibly was missing all those years ago. So he has continued to spiral. Like if you watch his stuff here and there, yeah.
Is he getting crazier?
Well, yeah.
I'd say he stays at the same crazy, but lately he's kind of been on one because you remember Kanye brought up his name, saying that like Chappelle stole all his jokes or something like that, and he's been on one about like nuclear bombs aren't real. And if you
Boy, that's
bombs,
interesting.
Yeah.
Owen Benjamin is that one's tough. I was watching a bunch of old episodes of Bar Rescue a couple months ago, and he was on one of them. It was they were doing a comedy club, and John Taffer's like, I brought my friend here, comedian Owen Benjamin. I was like, ah.
My dad was a downwinder, and he says he remembers like in the 50s because he was down in St. George, and they would do the testing in Arizona, and he remembers like one time specifically that they announced on the radio like, hey everybody, there's just so you know, we're doing a test, and like he described how it was like he went outside and like it looked like a sunset, except it was on the southern horizon. Like he saw the sky glow orange,
Damn.
But I'm sure Owen Benjamin can tell me that my dad just made that story up and told it to me as an 8-year-old, just as part of the grand.
Isn't that like the first thing you think of when you think of a conspiracy theory? Is like, okay, but how many people would have to be in on it?
Yeah, exactly.
Make this make any sense? Like flat Earth, you're like, okay, that's almost fucking everyone except you. Has to be in on this.
Yeah.
All of Japan would have to be in on saying, "Yeah, you got us with that big bomb."
You really made us mad.
We'll get these guys. This is the channel because I can't sit and watch Owen Benjamin like very much, but he kind of just puts in little clips some of the nutty stuff he says.
I feel like I only just began to even know who he was. It felt like it was like 6 days before he went insane. Like he did a thing for PragerU that I thought was funny and that I posted, and it was like
he did a lot of things for Crowder. Like that was those were the best Crowder episodes. You have somebody actually like really funny being the host of Louder with Crowder, which is awesome. But
yeah,
I think what happened. I think part of what happened is you get when you go through an experience where you're the only right person in a room of insane people. I think that fucking messes with your brain, and he actually had that. You know that story?
Yeah, where he got kicked out from the agency because he was the only one who said that the. Are you talking about that one?
Yeah. There was a guy like he was going to be he was actually a big up and comer.
Jesse
as
Thorne. I actually used to listen to Jesse Thorne. He was with Todd Hodgman or John Hodgman.
Yeah, like Jesse Thorne. Was it?
Yeah, they did a Judge John. That was one of my favorite podcasts back in the day.
But that was some guy.
Jesse Thorne and his wife trans their kid.
Like a kid, and he was putting them like on puberty blockers and stuff like that. And Owen Benjamin, like at this either on Twitter or at the party, was like, "That's insane! You can't do that."
And then he got dropped from his agency for it.
And that's the thing. He wouldn't. They told him to apologize, and he wouldn't do it. Which, that's badass. That's ballsy. Like you're throwing away an entire career for that. But it's got to drive you insane because in that instance, he was the one right person in a room full of cowards. He was the kid telling the emperor that he's not wearing any clothes.
He was thrown in the oven for saying the emperor had no clothes in it.
And I think that's part of what drove him insane. I think
that was kind of like peak. You couldn't say anything bad or even question slightly. That was peak of it,
Yeah.
And I remember listening to Jesse Thorne talk about that, and it was because Jesse Thorne, I really liked him on Judge John Hodgman. I love that podcast. I haven't listened to it in forever, but but yeah, they got full ideological. And Owen Benjamin took it in the gut for that, but then he went off the freaking deep end the other direction, He
started talking about how the Jews did everything, and
jeez,
yeah, and he's a complete flat earther, and not only that, like he'll unfriend or unfamily people if they disagree with him on the moon landing and all that sort of stuff. And then he creates this Barataria play.
Do you ever go into Owen's chat and go, Owen, why are you bitching about Joe Rogan and Steven Crowder and all these comedians and Jim Bob and his wife for 3 weeks straight? No, you wouldn't, would you?
In the beginning, I did, yeah. Before I knew better, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of
I'm all about burying hatchets. The only time I won't bury a hatchet with anybody ever is if you've went to like Reddit. Because at this point, I've been right about so much shit that to try and pretend I'm crazy is fucking retarded.
So yeah, a good documentary on the whole thing. I don't know if the guy still has it up. This guy Porcelain, he does a deep dive in the whole Beartaria thing. And the Beartaria thing is he got all of his people. They get a name. They call themselves bears, and he's Big Bear. And everybody comes in and gives him a name like I don't know, something else like. And he got them all to start paying. I think he got rid of his. No, here it is. He got them all to start paying to siphon off to make this land in Idaho, and it was going to be Beartaria, where anybody who paid money to it, they were allowed to come stay on his land or this sorts of thing. And he was going to have Utopia is Beartaria, and everybody sent all this money, and then after he got all the money, he bought the land and told all of them they couldn't come.
What?
Yeah.
Well, he is kind of like Joseph Smith.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, everybody, I'm making a bank. Invest.
Here's some silver on top of a bunch of sand.
And I don't think that this guy Porcelain left the large documentary up because the people come after him so hard. If you remember, all the bears, they were the ones who sued. They sued Patreon. And they sued Patreon because they found out like a loophole through Patreon or something, and they actually won that thing. And I think all those same bears came after this guy for posting the I think it was like called Average Bear. Smarter than the average bear. Here it is. It's an hour 38. If you want to go down a rabbit hole but then this was still 2 years ago. He's been crazy since, you know.
Yes. I don't know, but he's the train guy.
But yeah, he created this whole Beartaria place.
Spacecraft.
I don't know, like this new special that I'm releasing.
Anyway, 147 IQ, folks. 147 IQ. And he may be Joseph Smith. For all the people who are wondering if Joseph Smith had any kids and all that stuff, we know now that he did, and it was Owen Benjamin.
That actually makes sense because I've always imagined that Joseph Smith had a very high IQ.
Yes.
Yeah, he must have.
So the other 147, and the reason this show is called Woodland Critters.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
This might actually inspire me to make videos. I want to
I
do
wonder how many people saw it, because I didn't see this pop up anywhere, and you guys showed it to me, and I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, well,
Jonathan
he
noticed
shared
it,
it
right?
on his own personal Facebook. Bill Reel did, and so yeah,
I'm not Facebook friends with him, but
yeah.
So yeah.
I want to do like a video on every single one of these. Like I want to do like an essay response because these are fucking amazing for just so many reasons. Because like you guys were dissecting them and talking about how like postmodern and shit they were, and I get that. That's great, and I want to take that angle too. But my God, I can't get past the half-assery of this. It's like he did one take because especially on that third one. If you listen to the third one, he stutters like 1,000 times, and he goes back, and it's like he's flipping a page in his script and he just didn't cut it out, and the AI looks uncanny valley, and then the voice, the hello children.
yeah, I only listened to like 5 minutes of it, but
friends.
it was not good.
Hello,
Oh, there it is. That's
my
it.
Little friends. Today, hello, my little friends.
I can't get enough of that.
Hello, my little friends.
That's
So we haven't even said what it is. Say what
it's
it is.
you know what it is.
Here's
It's
what
like,
happened.
It's like
Here's
children's. It's like children's Hannibal Lecter. Hello, children.
Here's what happened. Because somebody must have told Bill Reel that like, look, you've pigeonholed yourself. Like you can't really make money on ex-Mormon YouTube. It's too niche. And it's a revolving door. You'll constantly, if you're pushing out inflammatory bullshit material, you will constantly maintain about 10 to 20,000 viewership, right? But it'll never go beyond that because ex-Mormonism is something that people graduate from and they get tired of listening to content. So it's always new people. The only way to but the opposite end of that is kids YouTube, because they watch shit incessantly, and there's nobody hates kids more than their fucking shitty parents who are just like, sit in front of a goddamn iPad. I don't want to have to parent you. And they will watch Baby Shark. That like you look
Speaking
up
of
a list,
which,
look up
here's-
lists of videos that have made it past 1 billion views, and it's like a big accomplishment, but they always have to exclude YouTube Kids because like there's 10 different versions of Baby Shark that have made it to like 13 billion views. It's insane.
Speaking of which,
funny.
here's another Forrest Gump Chris Hanna thing. This Art for Kids hub, that is my cousin, and it's a pretty famous YouTube video, and it's got 7.8 million subscribers. I think the church like has even had him do some stuff in between general conferences. They have those in between things and all that sorts of stuff. He's got stuff that's like 10 million views and 11 million views and all that sort of stuff, and makes a killing off of this. Some of them only hit, but here's 9 million. Shark folding surprise puppet, 9 million views. 11K. It's back and forth. It's all over the place. How to Draw Bluey, 4 million, that sort of stuff. But yeah, and he makes a killing off of kid content. Yes, he does.
You remind me that because like I have a little bit of a Forrest Gump thing in that a close family friend, like my brother's best friend, guy who's like my brother to me. Like, our parents, our moms were Brazilian immigrant roommates at BYU. His uncle produced the Living Scriptures. And I remember back in the 80s and 90s talking about like, oh, he made the Living Scriptures. And that and he made a lot of money on that.
It's so much money, you guys.
Well, the Living Scriptures was an MLM scam. My very Mormon dad will tell you that. Oh yeah, I didn't realize it, but they were a fucking racket. I'm gonna have to ask.
I thought it was just you went to Deseret Book or Seagull Book and Tape and bought the
You could do that, but it was like there was like a weird subscription thing, and I don't know. I'm exaggerating when I say an MLM scam, but like my dad was explaining it to me, and he was telling me he's very LDS, but he's like it's a fucking racket.
Well, yeah, he's got a beautiful house.
If I told you how much my cousin made, you'd be like, "Holy crap!" And I'd say, "That's not a year, that's a month." And he'd be like, "Holy crap!" I mean, yeah, he made it. He got in early, so he get.
If you can consistently get millions of views, then yeah.
And then your stuff's kid friendly. If your stuff's kid friendly, you can get way more advertisers and all that stuff. And
I think with these future Bill Reel Kids videos, what I want to do is like look at the title and just guess what the moral of the story is, because he's not actually very good at allegory at all. He just kind of. It's very on the nose, and even with it being that on the nose, at the end he just explicitly states what the moral of the story is. Like the people watching it are dumbasses. But I'm like, so that third one, when I saw the title, and
I haven't watched that yet.
It was like the myth of the glowing people, and I was like, so the myth of the glowing giants, I think is what it's called. So what do you think the moral of that story is?
Yeah. Well, first off, you put myth in the title, so I guess now I know it's a myth. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there is no God. That's basically
myths aren't true. Everybody's lying to you. Hey kids, Noah Harari says all your money is just a myth. It's all fake. Yeah, this one, if you ask me, like talking about enthusiastic consent to a kid, that's kind of like a little bit.
Listen, kids.
Because
if someone wants to
consent things for sex, right?
I know. He's like, listen, kids. If someone wants to fuck you, don't tell them yes unless you're real enthusiastic about it. Oh my God. What?
Foucault's argument for kid lovering always is that some of them are into it, man. They really do get enthusiastic consent for it. It really was. It really was his argument.
But this is so I can't get past how half-assed all this is. The production, the AI with the uncanny things that we'll have to pause to look at. The character, his name is just Papa. Like that's the guy. And these all feel like just if somebody was like, if you wanted to tell kids that God is dead, what would you say? Like that's if I could drunkenly come up with a shitty allegory that would end up being this. I feel like somebody told him, kids YouTube, you got to get on it as quickly as you can. And he's like, I will. And then he wrote these in like an hour
AI.
AI wrote them. Man. Asked AI to wrote them.
I mean, AI did the art, but
no, I bet you
I
even
think-
like that because
I don't know. I don't
already
think
used
so. I don't think so.
ChatGPT
I
at
don't
work.
think that
I
AI
guarantee
could.
he did
I
because
think AI would do better than this.
no, but that's what I'm saying is like AI completes it and then you go back in and redo it. And
I have
fix it.
seen some. I have like the shit that Jonathan has sent me about like the prompts that he puts into AI are way better than this.
So, oh crap, what was I gonna say? Oh, never mind. Let's start listening.
Today's story is the enthusiastic garden party. But before we start, I always tell you
It's a kid
about
orgy.
today's
I just heard you guys remember Keeping Up Appearances
No.
with Hyacinth and her
Oh
candlelight
yes, that's
suppers?
it. Yeah,
And I just thought of like Hyacinth going, "Oh, are you coming to my enthusiastic garden party?"
In fact, keeping up appearances, when people say that the church is a patriarchy, when I think of what the actual church I knew was keeping up appearances. And it was a bunch of women dragging around a bunch of henpecked men to put on their appearances. That's what the church seemed like to me in the neighborhoods I grew up in. But
I bet you Pixar was in this prompt for the AI art.
yeah, did you guys listen to Jonathan and me last week?
Yeah, no, I like it when we're not there because it's all intelligent people that know what they're talking about. It's a different show.
Hey, fuck you, man.
But so I talked about the post miners thing and all that stuff, and I think there's like a weird thing about all this that these same people who will, I'm not saying Bill Reels is this person, but they'll argue for enthusiastic consent for a younger kid might be fine. They'll also say that like a post miner, like a person who's well over age, could also technically be minor if the consent is there. Is that rain coming down here?
It's not raining here.
Huh. Okay.
treasure hunt. In today's book reading,
but I do want to re-upload all these. I need to do the AIR. I actually tried to look for something that kind of looked like a grandpa, but I want to upload these, and every single time that this guy's on the screen, I want a drag queen twerking in front of the kids, and that's the image that it goes to, and see if like that's perfectly fine to put up that image too. Like make sure this is a drag queen twerking in front of the kids, reading to the kids, and then we got.
Oh man, it's
fantastic. In one of the scenes, you're going to be looking for a carrot. Our main character is Rosie the rabbit.
This needs to go so much faster, but we got to get that.
Really?
No, I know. That's the thing is I watched this as fast as you possibly could, and I watched all 3 of the episodes like 4 times. I was bewildered. I don't know how you checked out. You said you checked out. This was fascinating shit to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the first one, my brain turned off so hard to it that when I wanted to know what it actually said, I had to go look it up and read it so I could read it faster.
That one was exceptionally. That was the most boring one. The first one we saw was
I couldn't.
2.
Like if I said, "Okay, listen this time, Chris. Listen this time, Chris. Listen," and I listened. I couldn't. I had to go back in and pull the transcript.
So there's 3 morals so far. There's only 3 episodes. The moral of this story is make everything dull, because consent tag is one of the, and that was my name this time.
It's coming down so hard. If the stream goes out or if I go out, just keep talking because like
I can actually hear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every now and then we'll hear a little bit of.
I hope that
I haven't heard.
I
I haven't heard this at all. So.
And she misplaced a carrot that she was going to use to make lunch tomorrow.
Oh my god, the carrot's alive though.
This is what the carrot looks like. Now, my name is Papa, and I love to read books to my little friends.
He sounds like
And
Kevin
today's
from The
book
Office.
Is
I know,
the
it's just
enthusiastic
too creepy.
garden
Yeah.
party.
Do you know how many times when I was a kid, you get dragged into something like this? You're like, please don't drag me into this. Please don't. Like you remember being a kid and being like aware enough to be thinking that, like, please don't please don't make me sit here in front of
We're only 50 fucking seconds in. I was so excited to do this.
And so, with that, we shall begin. Once upon a time, in a charming little village, there was a beautiful garden where
Oh my God,
flowers
wait,
of
look.
all colors bloomed
Look at
and
that
animals lived
freaky
happily
looking
together.
motherfucker.
Yeah, wait until you get. So the reason this is called Woodland Critters Bloodorgy. Wait for how the images come out.
I know you gotta actually watch every image because
Yeah,
you guys were
yeah.
sending me the screenshots.
Wait.
I just listened to it while
Does
I was
everybody
at
know
work.
that reference? I don't know, but most people who listen here
Yeah,
should be
South
South
Park.
Parkian.
Yeah, we're
but
talking about South Park.
I know
but-
you guys do. I'm talking about anybody listening. Let's
I don't
take
know.
it.
I was playing video
So
games.
you look at the
with
background. There's
young
a
people in England today, and they know all the.
They
South
all know
Park.
the Woodland Creature Blood Orgy. So just real quick, this is an episode. I don't even know why they did this episode. It was like so out of nowhere.
It was amazing. It was a whole Christmas episode.
There was sudden like all these cutesy little woodland creatures, and then
Golly
for
gee, hail
Christmas they'd
Satan!
have golly gee hell Satan. They'd have like a pagan blood orgy, some sort of deal like that.
I mean, I
Why would
remember
they do
watching
that?
that when it broadcast the first time because it did the blood orgy. And like this is one thing. It was like it's one of the rare times that I appreciated the commercial break. Like Simpsons sometimes did it, where like right before the commercial break, they would just hit you so hard that you actually needed that 2.5 minutes to recover. And when I saw Woodland Critter Christmas Blood Orgy, like I was still laughing when the commercials were over.
Yeah, Morgan's working her way through all of South Park, and she just came to that episode the other day. And
I think I do all of South Park at least once a year. I love that show so much.
it's pretty great. Anyway, so you gotta pay attention to the art on this because it's amazing. Like that you're freezed on right now. There's like that. What the fuck is that instrument? Like that's a weird little. It's like if not
Yeah.
that. Okay, I wasn't even looking at that one. I was looking at the one on the other side. It looks
It's
like
like
a
the computer,
like
like
the,
the computer knows that drums and guitars are an
flower, the flower
And
pail.
cello.
Is,
Oh, yeah,
her
the
head
flower
is
pail
inside
is-
the flower pail. And this is when we
Wow.
played a little bit with some of these AI images that they're it's kind of screwy. Like it doesn't know right what to do with the
Yeah.
bodies and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
That.
like-
Oh wait, that bunny only has one ear. This is kind of fun. Okay.
You can almost play
It's
like little games
Bongo!
like it.
It's
Yeah.
Bongo.
Wait,
from
look
Life
at this.
in Hell.
This one only has one
Yeah,
ear.
he has one ear,
too,
but
and
he has
look
a
at his
fucked
face.
up face.
You guys know Bongo?
That one all the way to the right. Is that a tongue sticking out from behind her
Woodland
nose?
Creature Blood Orgy. Woodland Creature Blood Orgy.
What
Yeah.
the fuck is happening? This is AI generated hands. Christopher Rice brought up. Those
One
are
sunny
horrifying.
day,
You guys know
the
about
animals
Bongo,
decided
right?
to host a
What? Bongo?
Bongo. Bongo was one of the principal characters. I shared the screen. Bongo, Matt Groening, long before he made The Simpsons. In fact, The Simpsons, Matt Groening's cartoon was Life in Hell.
I've seen that.
And it was
I just
rabbit
didn't know it was
characters. And it was funny because like when he got approached by Fox to make a cartoon, and he didn't want to use his characters. He didn't want to waste his characters on a dumb TV show, so he made them human, and that's The Simpsons.
Oh.
But Bongo, that's Bongo.
Marty says he must have said a normal and slowed it down.
I don't think so. I would rather picture him. Quit being a Bill Real apologist, Marty.
She has to be. She has to be.
Ah, yeah, it's all political for you. I want to picture him sitting in front of a goddamn Yeti mic and being like, "Hello, friends. Today we're talking about consent." Ooh, that's his. That should be his next endeavor. Bill Real ASMR.
Yeah, I'm into it.
special garden
Am I on?
party to celebrate
Yeah, you're good.
their friendship. In the heart of the garden, the gentle rabbit named Rosie took charge of organizing the party. She wanted everyone to be excited and happy, so she invited all of her friends. Henry the hedgehog, Lily the squirrel, and Benny the butterfly,
Is that what these
and
are?
many others. As the invitations
I
were
see
sent out,
rabbits.
Rosie
jump to the
emphasized the
next screen.
importance of enthusiastic consent.
Oh, there it is.
She wanted every animal.
So a party.
Listen, none of you
everybody
bunnies
must
is
have-
gonna fuck if you don't want to, okay? That's-
If any of you bunnies don't want to come to the party, if you're not like goddamn happy about this goddamn party, you're not invited to the
It
party.
seems like the recipe for like a really bitchy girlfriend. Like you go to the party and she's just like, you don't want to be here, do you? And you're like, well, I said I wanted to be here. It's like, oh, well, you're just not enthusiastic about it. And I just wish you'd be more supportive.
Yeah, I know people like that for real.
And
The worst thing about those things is like when you're a person like I am or whatever, sometimes like I do feel perfectly enthusiastic about a thing, but I'm not showing it right to you. You know what I mean? Like
No, no, so that's
I'm
actually
not
a weird thing.
Happy to be
in-
here. I'm happy to be here.
That's something that Morgan had to really get used to once we got married, was like her family is so goddamn like dramatic and enthusiastic, and I'm not. So
Yeah.
she loves giving gifts. She would work very hard on a very sentimental gift for my birthday, and she'd give it to me, and I'd be like, oh my God, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And that feels overly enthusiastic to me.
Yeah, you already feel like
Like,
you
you
can't
hate
deliver
me.
that right. Like
You
know,
hate
know-
me and you hate the
you know,
gift.
I really feel this, and even prepping myself to say it, I know it's gonna come out wrong. Thanks.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
damn it.
I know. And the problem is, like, she'd be like, oh, did you not like it? I'm like, no, I really like this. Those are the words that I said, is that I like this. And she's like, oh, okay. And I had to explain to her at one point, I was like, look, your brothers are, I'm not trying to be a dick here, but very feminine. And they all, when she gives them the same amount of gift, it's always like, oh my gosh, oh, this is amazing. And they start crying. And I'm like, that's good. I'm not shitting on you for that. I'm just very much not that way. I'm not an enthusiastic consenter, okay?
I'm
You
not
still can have sex
not
with me. You're my
equally
wife.
happy. I'm very happy. Like I am equally happy for the thing. I
swear to God.
it doesn't shine out of my ass like that. It doesn't happen that way. Try having a Latina girlfriend.
Right. I'm not trying to be a dick.
Folks. Don't do it.
I'm not trying to be a dick, but
This is a
I
Red
wonder if
Pill
your brothers
podcast.
have dicks. But
Yeah,
that's the
that's
other thing
been-
about Latinas. Because that's the other thing. Like, all Americans who have met a Brazilian woman, and they're
Yeah.
just like you think that women are emotional. You haven't met Brazilians. Holy shit!
she knew that it was essential to respect each other's choices. On the day of the party, the garden was buzzing with excitement.
Let's see.
The animals arrived.
What's going on here? What on earth is this?
What
one?
the shit?
Is that like his face is in his armpit? Like, am I seeing that right?
Okay, so the one to the left of him, the green dude, he looks like fucking Scrat. That dude, the one up behind the green dude, looks like a fucking Cronenberg nightmare.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That one's still ultimately coming out pretty good. I'm gonna jump it a little forward.
Making sure that they knew they were welcome.
Look, smile, clap for Stalin. Whoever stops clapping first, you're the one that we're gonna have the blood orgy on. You'll be the blood in the orgy.
Before any games or activities,
Ugh.
Look
What the fuck?
Eyes right here on the screen, folks. Look at this one right here. Oh man, blood orgy starting. He's coming from behind. He's coming from behind.
I'm like that weird ass butch fucking bunny in front of him.
Look at this one. That's like
She's
Lurch
buff.
or
Yeah, that
something.
thing is like.
The ears are down here. Look.
Hey, you gone.
Chunk, love sloth, or is that other sloth love chunk?
Troy said this story needs a trigger warning, and I've always made fun of trigger warnings, but
Crazy.
holy shit, I could use one. This is upsetting.
I just want to upload the same words and then just make the AI just like a little bit more off kilter and upload the same thing.
Began, Rosie gathered all the animals into a circle. She explained
a circle with a pentagram in the middle.
Did they
of it.
recast Rose?
The pentagram is where the blood orgy will take
Oh,
place.
geez, Stan, we need to bring about the birth of the Antichrist now.
our wonderful garden. We always practice.
A snake got into the garden. There's a snake in the garden. Do we feel enthusiastic about this snake in our garden?
Enthusiastic consent. That means that we ask each other permission before hugging, before playing a game, or even before
swatting our balls.
Sharing a treat. If someone doesn't feel like participating, that's okay. We will respect their decision, and it won't change our friendship.
They won't be in the inner circle.
I feel like if
they will be in a circle.
So I feel like if my friends invite me to a thing, and I'm like, nah, I actually have a thing to go to, right? They usually say, okay, pussy, or something like that. But
yeah,
I think if they said something to me like,
it's okay, we actually really respect your decision to not do that, and we're not going to peer pressure you into attending a thing that you do not consent enthusiastically to attending.
I'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah, no.
Do you think I'm on like a suicide watch or something? Do you think I'm gonna?
It's like the inverse of getting the gift from Morgan, where you're like,
yeah,
what the fuck did I do? Is it okay? Like,
oh my God, did I piss you off?
Yeah,
you
like
think I'm a fucking pussy. Oh no.
All the animals nodded, understanding the importance of respecting each other's feelings. They felt safe and cared for in the garden.
You remember when we kind of gave Bill Real a little bit of crap because on his debate with Jacob Hansen, he said, I don't think I was ever built to have children. And we're like, come on, don't be saying that. You be saying, well, I agree with you now.
I know. This is Bill. I regret having children real. I mean, like, I'm going to make morals for children. Moral number 1. Wait, what's this one? This is moral number 1, enthusiastic consent. You have to ask people before tagging them. Moral number 2, fuck everything. There is no beauty. Moral number 3, God is dead. Listen to the 147 IQ wise man. There's a 3-armed chipmunk
all those
right
words
there. What
were
the
correct.
shit?
All those words are correct and true and loving. You just needed to say them more. God is dead, children. God is. Yeah.
We got a 3-armed chipmunk. We got a weird gopher.
Oh, there's 3 arms.
Handle on its
head.
head.
You got a better eye for it. That's 4 arms, man. 1, 2.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
4.
Well, 3 arms, 4 hands.
This one's eating a slug. It looks like that's probably true to the real woodland creature. This looks like. Have you seen those antelope things that are coming out in like all the different scary movies now? Like the movie The Ritual. They've all got like these different antelope gods,
jackalope, whatever.
Jackalope murderers or whatever. So that's that, but with glasses.
What is that floating Sunday thing up above the 3-armed golfer's head?
3-armed.
That thing. What the shit is it? It looks like a Star Wars droid, but it's made of ice cream.
Yeah, I can't quite tell. This one's doing shots.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. The guy in the middle has 3 arms too, and the 3rd arm is holding the head of a what the?
There's
God?
a head. There's a head on arm.
Glasses have antlers.
It's Quaid.
He does have
Quaid from
it's either antlers or weeds growing out of its head. I don't know. It's definitely something that I would like my kids to watch. You know, since the morals are really great, the visuals are also pretty good. God.
Wait, look, the one in the middle, is that a candle?
There's a candle on its head.
Emerging from his scalp.
Let's see, look real close.
But look at him. Look at him, and he's got
close.
3 arms, and he's holding the severed head of a fucking gopher rabbit thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna zoom in. I'm gonna zoom in.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Oh Man, I can't quite tell looking at it this close.
You brought that up right as Troy commented Total Recall.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Says a quaid.
Troy, I started playing your video game. What's it called? Hitler's Legacy?
I'm due for another playthrough of that. It was fun.
I'm kind of.
Did you say Hitler? Sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, just talking about Hitler's Legacy. Like, it's pretty good. I don't know. Like, the thing you guys mentioned, where it's like it doesn't matter what gender you choose for your character, everyone else refers to them as they. It's like, yeah, that's how people talked in 1890.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's pretty good. Like, I'm taking it kind of slow, but yeah, I'm enjoying it.
I don't know. I grew up on Harry Potter, so it's obviously like the nostalgia factor is pretty massive. And I grew up on Harry Potter, but also like I still to this day maintain that I feel like J.K. Rowling she's the best world builder since Tolkien. That's
yeah.
Like, well, if I could live in a world of all of my favorite, if I could have a choice, it'd probably be Harry Potter.
I think one thing about the Harry Potter game,
Garden.
Oh Christ!
That I think was that they did that was an absolutely brilliant move, was to set it in the 19th century and separate it as much as possible.
From we lost you there. Sorry, you.
No, I think you. I heard him.
Oh,
sorry.
But yeah, because like it's just like it's like the thing Red Letter Media talked about with Star Wars. It's like, well, they have to keep tying it into the Skywalker shit. Like, no, don't. And that's what's nice about this Harry Potter game is like, oh, it's Harry Potter stuff, but the fucking name Harry Potter, there's no Dumbledore, there's none of this shit, and it's nice because it's like, oh, good, I get to be part of my own story, and not just the thing that I already watched in those bad movies and read in those books that started out good and really petered out at the end.
So how is this story not over yet? Does a curveball come from like a bad guy?
So we've been watching it for 3.5 hours.
Their choices. Next, Henry the Hedgehog suggested playing a game of
hide the hot dog.
This is my favorite part.
All right, let's see what we got going on here. Not too bad in there.
That one's not bad, I don't think. They're holding
this guy's a little freaky, but
yeah, he looks like he's a porn producer mole or something like that.
Oh, I missed it. Like in the background, you remember how like in the Wizard of Oz, you can see like one of the Munchkins hanging.
Oh Christ, yeah.
You got that going on right back here.
Okay, you gotta listen to Consent Tag. This is my favorite part.
Some animals sprinted around, giggling as they were tagged, while others preferred to sit this one out. It was perfect.
Oh my God, there's the carrot. Guys, the carrot.
Because
guys,
wow.
I found the carrot.
Where?
It's the carrot.
Where?
Enthusiastic consent mattered most. As the day went on, the animals played games.
So you had to have enthusiastic consent to play grab ass tag.
Bill Rill is the reincarnation of whoever the fuck created participation trophies.
Shared stories.
Because of this, Bill Reel and anybody who supports this can no longer give the church any shit for kids singing Follow the Prophet. You have just completely recused yourself from criticizing the church for indoctrinating children with your dumb ideas.
I would way rather my kids grow up with the same, like, sexual shame included Mormon shit than this Bill Reel's like, God is fucking dead, nothing matters morals.
I'm going the other way.
While watching Nightmare Fuel,
let's see what happens.
And enjoy delicious treats.
That was the worst place to do that.
Everyone had a fantastic time.
I'm never doing any drugs again because if I do, this is coming out. Like this is gonna come, like it's gonna pop back up in my head. Like Enjoy your fantastic treat.
Because they knew they could be themselves and were respected for their choice.
Why don't any of these woodland
Their
creatures have top surgery scars?
So I feel like the talking pattern and cadence and all that stuff is like bringing general conference into kid stories. Does anybody else feel like it's like general conference cadence?
Like really
Yes.
amateur general conference.
Yeah, Bruce R. McConkie was way more entertaining.
I know they've got an irritating cadence, but they've got that irritating cadence down. You got to get to we got to brush through this one, skip the second one because it's not as funny.
We'll look at the
got to get
pictures.
to the third one.
But the thing is that I got to say that Bruce R. McConkie's face looked like it was generated by AI. Like he was just a human.
I
First
can
I'm
never
gonna do
picture
double
him.
speed to test Marty's.
Okay, yeah.
Marty says double speed. It sounds like he recorded at double speed and then he slowed it down.
In the evening, as the sun set behind the trees,
No, he didn't.
the animals gathered one last time to thank Rosie for the wonderful.
Wait, what do we got in the pictures?
Bill Reel
This
is
one's
not
got
a oh my god, what is that
This one's
weird
got a leaf
navel
for a
crest?
belly button. This one's sticking it in his nose. Not too bad though. We'll go to the next one.
That one's high.
Yeah, not too bad of a screen though. All that I forget to like look at the hands and stuff. One of these were.
I'm Papa.
Is that the same one?
Yeah.
That was a little weird.
Ugh. What
Not
the
too bad. I don't know
shit
what
is
that
that?
is. Like a deer and a bee.
Oh, I wasn't even looking at that. I was looking at the one on the far right there.
You would.
He looks like a Nazi. Let's talk JQ, baby.
Oh.
Arabic stories are okay because they always go right to left.
I think that's it. Any more
progress?
Yeah, that's just going back to the other one. Okay, so
you gotta
find
do
his enthusiastic consent. This is the page.
I can't wait. I want to see the one where the woodland critters learn about patriarchy. That would be good.
It's going to be very on the nose because the God one is very on the nose.
So there's only 4 of them. So story seeds for kids. He stole. I'm gonna have my cousin sue him for the name. That's
there's only
my
3.
cousin's name. Art Hub for Kids. Story seeds for kids.
He did, is that
I'm
called a
suing.
rebus?
No, my cousin's
So
gonna
you
sue me.
gotta do the Myth of the Glowing Guardians. Unless we want to do all of them, I'll do.
I
all
have
of
not
them.
watched this one.
I fucking love all of these. I will do all of them. I will spend all night.
The
doing
Garden
it.
of Reflection was the one that I just couldn't even listen to because
It's the most dull, but the story itself is pretty.
Hey,
good too.
he gained some weight.
I know.
Well, Grandpa's got an eating disorder, man.
What's the problem with AI art is that you can't
You
get
can't make the
exactly
same picture on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll start altering the thing that you want.
It learns.
The myth
Is
of
he
the
teaching him about mushrooms?
Well,
Don't tell me he's telling kids
mushrooms is a hidden image, and when he
Oh.
said that, I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
of course it is.
Well, hello there, my little friends.
Is that
You're on double time,
Does that
so
stay sped up? Or you
we'll
want
see
to
what
hear-
it sounds. Actually, no.
Listen,
This is
we
great.
gotta hear the
You gotta
hello
hear it
there.
normal because he fucks up and doesn't even
Well,
bother to edit
hello
it out.
there, my little friends.
I feel like if I was a kid living in this house, this would be something like you accidentally walk past that room and then you hear it like, no, oh my god, no! I was gonna play basketball with my friends. No.
Grandpa's gonna die in a few years. He's got dementia. Just humor him.
You walk through the room. He said the words, "Hello there, my little friend." You listen to the goddamn story.
It's Papa. Welcome back. The story we're going to read today is The Myth of the Glowing Guardians.
There is no
But
God.
before we start, we have to let you know about our scavenger hunt.
You know what it is that's bugging me? I think it bugs all of us about this voice. And this is a thing that I've been saying for a long, long time.
He's
It's
a
like
bad
you
actor.
look at look at children's entertainment that is excellent versus the creepy crap. And the key thing is good children's entertainers don't talk down to kids. The way he's doing this voice is talking down to kids.
Yeah.
Like Pee Wee Herman just died. Pee Wee Herman never talked down to children. In fact, he embodied a child to talk at them. But like, you think about that show that I thought was so great was We Bear Bears. That's for little
that's a
kids,
good
and
one.
yet adults can watch
That one's
it.
actually pretty good.
And that's the thing is like because it treats children like peers.
So
like human beings that are capable of understanding things like nuance and humor.
I was curious
The way
about
Bill
this.
Reel is talking about it, it's just like the fucking primary teacher. That's what he sounds like.
Yeah. So I was actually curious about this because I was trying to figure out what it is about certain children's content creators that pisses me off. Matt Walsh did like this big takedown of Blippi. Blippi's one of the biggest kids content creators out there. And before he was Blippi, he was Steezy Dan. And Steezy Dan has a video of himself taking a shit on his buddy's chest. And Matt Walsh argues that should disqualify him from ever being a children's entertainer or whatever. But I've watched a lot of this Blippi, and I'm like, he's annoying to me, right? Because he talks like a high-pitched, crazy kid or whatever. But it's different than this because it feels more like Pee Wee Herman. It feels like he's embodying a child rather than like Bill Reel sounds like he's trying to talk to a group of stroke victims who are relearning language.
Yeah. No, exactly. It really is that.
And he's like, "Hello, children. I know you're fucking retarded." So,
well, this is the thing. Is like this is really what he's getting at. Is like, hey, dumb kids, you don't know that you can't just play tag with people, you fucking idiots. So let me explain to you slowly why that's not okay.
Yeah, so let's take 10, 15 minutes, have you sit down. I would, if I was a kid and had to sit through these things, I would. You remember how I brought up Lindsay Hansen Park's mom, who would make us, we'd be ready to play basketball at mutual night, and then she'd make us sit down and listen to her one-woman play about Emma Smith or something like that. And we were like, we're just about to play basketball now, and we get dragged into this thing, and it was like somebody sitting there like this, and you got caught, and now you're not playing basketball, you're sitting and listening to this, and like I have nightmares about that. Worse than the mission. Worse.
Do you still have mission nightmares?
I do, yeah.
Really?
I don't
Not often, but once in a while.
I had them constantly when I got back, and I had them constantly for about 5-6 years, and seldomly after that. And now it's kind of nice because I only get one every couple months, and when I get it, it's like I'm getting sent on another mission, and I'm just in another country. I'm like, oh fuck it, I'll go hang out in this country.
That's almost what I always think to myself. I always think like I'm either in the middle of it and I've got 8 months left, and I go, all right, I'll just tough this out. Or
no, I know it used to be that for me. It used to be like, oh shit, I got kids.
Yeah,
I want to be with my kids.
I have a job. I gotta call my job.
Thing.
I gotta call my job if I'm gonna be here doing this mission.
You know,
it's like I don't even think about that. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go hang out in this cool country for a while. Fuck this mission thing.
I don't have mission dreams since I got home. What was funny is because like on the mission there was this whole like running joke about having dreams about Britney Spears, because you know that's like the late 90s and everybody was talking about Britney Spears, and people would like missionaries would joke about their Britney Spears dreams. And then I remember I had a Britney Spears dream, but because the thing is like I wasn't really into Britney Spears in like a sexual way necessarily.
Oh
yeah, but like
I never thought. I just never into the.
But in my Britney Spears dream when I was a missionary, she was also a missionary, and she like called me up and she's like, Elder Johnson, I need to play a concert, but I can't leave the mission. What should I do? And like in my Britney Spears mission dream, she was Sister Spears and she was calling me to ask me for advice, and I just gave her like the basic Mormon advice, like, well, you got to follow mission rules, Sister Spears. Like, you know, you can't leave the mission. You gotta, you just gotta do your mission, and then you can go sing concerts.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's not very often. It's less often than it used to be, but still once every few months, I'll have a dream and thought. I have a lot of the airport and the mission, and one's either I'm going to the airport or trying to get back to the airport so I can get the hell out of there type stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Let's see what these guys are saying.
Marty your husband hasn't had one since he left? That's crazy.
What?
I
had them.
You weren't traumatized.
I guess.
I think it was the Glasses McConkey board talking seeds. I'm expecting to see a Fight Club flash in a second. Someone needs to Sound of Freedom that channel. Magnum PI never talked down to kids. Yeah, it's pretty bug and disgusting. Do you know what really is going on with Bill Rilla and all the rest of those? This kind of speech is the exact same kind they are playing to themselves in their mind. I'm not saying feel sorry for them, but you got to realize that they are retarded as these kids. The scales have been totally imbalanced on the be kind side, but kids also need to hear the toughen up and relax. Yeah. Marty, they're just struggling, trying to prove that they are not. At least that might be going on, but it could be wrong. Okie dokie. No, and Frank Sinatra never had more dreams. Huh. Tell us about
Nana and we put a mushroom in one of the images.
Yeah, of course you did.
When you see it, just remember what picture it was that had the mushroom on it. And with
Do psychedelics,
delay, let's read our story for today.
I saw on the
myth.
Thoughtful Saints, somebody asked about the psychedelics, and he bore his testimony about the psychedelics.
Of the
I wonder,
glowing
what if Sam Shelley does a guest writing spot, and it's a whole thing about the little rabbits are so excited. My parents are getting divorced. It's the best thing.
This was predetermined. It was predetermined, kiddies.
Dude, it makes me hate psychedelics. It makes me think I was totally wrong about psychedelics in every single way, because I used to tell people yeah, I think you should, if you're having a tough time, try shrooms out. They're great. I love them. I don't do them.
Me too. This is what
but they're great. And then I hear, out of spite almost, I hear Sam Shelley and Bill Cara constantly talking about it like it's their new religion.
Well, that's that's the thing. I decided my quick answer to it is when people ask about it is going to be they're underrated as a drug, overrated as a religion.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, that's basically it. I've got a friend who's been hanging out a lot with the mushroomy Mormon people. And she kind of agrees, because I said the first thing is that's too churchy to me. They're way too churchy for me. And she's like, yeah, I mean, I think she likes going camping and doing mushrooms, so that's enough for her to stay involved. But yeah, I don't know. That's things the worst thing in the world with me. If somebody's hey, you want to go camping and do mushrooms? Sure. With a bunch of ex-Mormons who are doing it as a thing. I'm no, I'll just stay sober. I don't need to do that.
Guardians. Once upon a time, in a quaint village of Curiousville, there lived a young boy named Tim.
This one has people in it.
Look at that bow-legged motherfucker in the background.
It's blurry in the background, but this is you remember in South Park when they did the mob of sexing.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say orgy was a correct name for this.
Yeah, there's the orgy, but there's
the giant fuck pile.
The giant gate fuck pile to make sure that they didn't make
that the aliens didn't come from the future.
We were boycotting the future by not having any kids.
Get back on the sex pile.
Whoa, look at this guy. His fly is on the back of his pants.
Oh, I didn't even see that. I just saw how fucking bow-legged he is.
Bow-legged with a fly on the back of his pants. That might just be.
He actually looks like he's walking and jacking off.
So you could see something that's retarded, but that might be a larger indication of retarded than anything I've ever seen. Let's see.
Tim was kind-hearted and always eager to explore the world around him. He loved listening to stories told by the.
Marty's saying that Rolling Stones mentioned her podcast.
No, Mushroomy Exmos. Oh,
I said Rolling Stones did an article about Mushroomy Exmos, and that's.
Did the Rolling Stones mention your podcast, Marty?
Wow, that might be the most accurate reporting they've done in a decade.
Well, maybe. Did they besmirch you?
Yeah.
Mushroomy Exmos. Wow.
I'll
We
never
should,
forget.
we should look that up.
Because I mean, like, because that was the biggest example. Because like when they did it, wasn't the first time I'd seen that argument made. But when they did that rape on campus article, and they totally smeared and destroyed people's lives, or attempted to destroy people's lives, out of journalism. And then when it got exposed, they didn't say, "We screwed up. We're so sorry. We didn't do our journalistic diligence." They said, "Well, I mean, rapes do happen, so it's okay we lied about this one." Like that was literally their argument. It's like it's important. Like, yeah, we lied about this one, and maybe innocent men could have gone to prison, but it's okay because it really does happen.
I went to the ad and I think it is completely blocked. It is from the views. I did find that. I found the Rolling Stones.
I thought you were talking about the Bill Reel's creepy children adventure.
The village elders.
He found out what we're doing. He's like, blocked.
The one about the mythical creatures known as the glowing guardians. According to the village's religious system.
According to the village's religious system.
Yeah, that's a phrase you use.
His wings have owls growing out of them.
The glowing guardian.
According to the village's religious system, in which case they were in level 1 of fouler stages of religion. It's like he doesn't know where to cut off his world.
Were divine beings that protected the village from harm and brought blessings to all those who believed in their existence. The villagers celebrated the guardians with elaborate rituals and grand ceremonies, passing down this belief from generation to generation. One day, while sitting under the shade of a majestic oak tree, Tim began to ponder the stories of the glowing guardians. His curious mind couldn't help but wonder if the tales were true. He decided to seek the truth and embarked on a...
And he read a verse of the Bible. It said, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of the glowing guardian.
West to find the guardians. Tim roamed through the dense forest, asking everyone he met about the glowing guardians. Some villagers believed in the myth wholeheartedly, while other villagers had their doubts. A wise old sage named Amara noticed Tim's persistent questioning.
Named Bill Reel.
Named Amara noticed Tim's persistent questioning.
Fucking...
A wise old sage.
What the hell?
Oh, what the Jesus Christ? Those things have like lime heads. They're not. What the fuck are
If you're coming across like these creatures out there, why is it so weird they believe in glowing guardians?
I know. He's like, look at all these magical creatures, except the glowing guardians. God is dead, but fairies exist.
There's groundy green goblins out there, but there ain't no glowing guardians.
Sage named Amara noticed Tim's persistent.
Amara
might be the mushroom there. I think I saw it. The mushroom. Oh, look at. He ran into what? Oh, this is back to the storyteller, right? He's telling the story walking through the woods now. Is that, or is that the?
This is the wise
glowing guardians.
140 147 IQ sage Bill Reel that is telling him actually God is dead and don't listen to anything and critically think, and he turns this into a utopia. It's great.
Persistent questioning and decided to join him on his quest. As they journeyed together, Amara shared his wisdom with Tim. He told him that questioning myths and beliefs was a...
What is this? Like,
what the fuck?
Who?
Whoa.
Like, you got weird ladies coming out of the ground barking at you. I'm
natural part of growing.
That happens to me every time I walk to 7-Eleven.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That happens a whole lot.
Man, we had a woman experiencing homelessness who was also experiencing decades of methamphetamine abuse.
Mm.
And it was just funny because like we took her money and her money smelled like from feet away. We could smell her money. Yeah, so grody.
Good God.
People are saying that's Charles Darwin. What, he's just like peeking out of the stuff. Richard Dawkins. They can't hold hands because he hasn't given enthusiastic consent to hold. Would you hold my hand? Yes. You're not happy enough about that, son. Give a big smile and say yes. Yes, Grandpa. Yeah. Or I can't do it.
one's true self. Tim.
When speaking of like a homeless lady, it happened to me one time down by your house. Flip. This is one of the fastest quips I ever said in my life. So sometimes I can be funny on the fly, but nobody else was there to hear it but the homeless lady. But she was walking by me and she yells at me at the top of her lungs, "You're one ugly fuck. Get fucked." And I go, okay, but the first thing makes the second thing kind of hard.
He realized that he wasn't alone in his curiosity and felt encouraged to keep seeking the truth. Finally, one day at the edge of a shimmering lake, the water sparkled like a million diamonds under the sun's rays. At the center of a lake stood an island with a mysterious cave. Legend had it that the glowing guardians resided within that cave. With determination in his eyes, Tim rowed a small boat towards the island. As he entered the cave, he saw a faint glow emanating from deep within. Tim's heart.
What was that? That's something you notice. Where it was like he didn't do multiple takes of this. He kind of just.
Yeah.
No,
Faced with excitement.
I've forgotten to point it out, but he's done it a few times. And coming up here pretty soon, he actually misreads something and then goes back to reread it. I'm that's just something you've cut out.
Yeah, however, it'd be one thing if you publish these privately and send a link to people hey, here's my rough draft. Don't share this. Because otherwise assholes on the internet might make fun of me.
He ventured further. He discovered a dazzling crystal that caused the glow. Realization dawned upon him. The stories of the glowing guardian were not entirely true. It was a divine.
It's actually this magic crystal. This lines up so much with current day atheism. Turns out the crystals are magic.
Being, it was not a divine being, but a beautiful crystal that had captivated the imaginations of the villagers. It was the villagers' belief and devotion that gave the crystal its significance and its power. Tim returned to the village eager to share his findings. The villagers were surprised at first, and some of them even dismissed Tim's discoveries. But many listened with open hearts. Some of the villagers.
Look at that. That's preaching. Oh, man.
Yeah, he actually looks like a young Joseph Smith.
Elders, too, realized that questioning myths could lead to a deeper understanding of their beliefs.
What?
From that day on, Curiousville became a place where questions.
Come on.
So hang on a second. I actually didn't notice it the first time. He's saying that there was a glowing crystal at the bottom, and what they found out about the crystal was that the village people's belief in this deity
the village people
to grow.
The gay disco band?
Yeah, the village.
I hate to break it to you.
And I'm like, wait a minute, you're saying that it's almost like your faith caused a physical thing to happen, therefore God is dead, and you should doubt what the fuck, man? He really does want mysticism and non-mysticism to be the answer.
I hate to break it to this preachy kid, but there's a glowing guardian right there in the background watching. He's got an ugly face though. But look at this. Look at these arms on this kid.
Christ.
One of his arms is leaning across his flobbity, I guess, severed arm. I guess that is. This is a hand coming out where his neck place in his shirt.
And almost none of these kids are actually looking at the preacher kid.
2 arms coming out of the same sleeve. I don't know. I think this town needs Jesus or glowing guardians. Look at this kid's face right here.
Why does this kid? Those aren't. Those are
cross-eyed too.
I know there's a lot of cross-eyed thing. Those aren't even suspenders. Those are like gun holsters on him.
Oh yeah, huh?
Nathan Drake right there.
He's got gun holsters on. You're right.
Yeah, those aren't holding up his pants. They're not holding his sleeves on.
Look at this hand sticking up out of nowhere right here.
Oh fuck!
Whoa!
There's another hand.
For some reason, this shot just makes me think of Life of Brian for some reason.
This one's a tentacle or a penis.
What's that weird the same guy who put the penises in the Little Mermaid in the 90s wrote the code for this AI.
Did you spot the penis?
What's there's a little flap of stuff on that kid's head, like right to the left of his leg. He's got like a dirty rag on his head.
Yeah.
Kid in a blue shirt back right to the preacher's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a child thing
you notice like
on
an
the
arm
right side.
There's an arm sticking straight up right there on that one. That town needs glowing guardians, man. You can't rip that.
Yeah. Don't get rid of the glowing guardians.
questioning was encouraged and children were taught to seek answers with open minds and critical thinking. Tim's quest had sparked
critical thinking, and he brought critical thinking back to the old town of the 1850s.
He brought fucking utopianism. He's like, and once they all stopped believing in that stupid God shit and thought critically like they're 147 IQ, wise old Bill Real man.
Critical thinking.
Everything was perfect forever.
Back to the tiny little. Oh wait, is that Jimmy raping Jenny? Stop it, Jimmy. Let's see here. What is that? Oh my goodness.
That's a tumor.
Yeah.
The spirit of inquiry that enriched the village's religious system.
Spirit
and so Tim grew up to be a wise and compassionate leader who valued the power of questioning and learning. The village of Curiousville prospered, not just in material wealth, but also in knowledge and understanding.
Then they created an AI and destroyed themselves. Removed themselves from all possible jobs. But that's okay because Tim put a bionic stomach into his body and now no longer needs food. But Tim also isn't Timmy. He has the memories of all of his other friends because a microchip was downloaded, and now all of our minds are one like the Borg.
Beautiful.
The moral of the story is that questioning myths and beliefs can lead to a deeper understanding.
Tale as old as time. Discover God ain't real. Turn into the Borg.
Here I was for half a second worried, like, what am I going to teach my kids? They don't have the same religious moral system that I did to grow up. But now
I want to write all the Disney songs for the woke. Some men breastfeed. It's the thing that babies need. Some we can do the whole.
We've still promised like the hymns, the high on the mountain top.
Oh yeah,
unfurled. It's dawn to live in care. But
the one I want to do more than
Disney,
anything is the give to the activists. Give to the activists, or we'll say you hate the gays. That was you, Chris. You wrote that one.
I don't remember. We don't see that before.
Understanding of oneself and the world around us. It is through curiosity and critical thinking that we.
I love this. I love that it turns out it's just a really magic crystal because that's such a good. It's the crystals, man.
Discover the truth.
You look up like how many atheists believe, like, or supposedly atheists. Atheists, Pew Reports believe in what do they call magic crystals, power of crystals.
Crystal power.
Spiritual struggles among atheists. Oh, there's a whole paper on it here, but I'll pull it up in a second. Let's finish this.
And grow in wisdom. The end. Well, my little friends, did you enjoy the myth of the glowing guardians? I know I did. Did you find the mushroom? It was right here. That's where me and Nana placed the mushroom. If you found it, congratulations. And if not, you can watch this video again and find it the next time through, or join us on our other scavenger hunts when we have other items in other stories. Please hit the subscribe button at Seed Stories for Kids, and please hit the like button and help other little friends find this beautiful story. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that each of you have a great day, and see you next time on Seed Stories for Kids. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so
good God.
It's still lower than the other groups, but like atheists, like 22% still in that believe in some sort of astrology, reincarnation, physics, or like stuff. But those who say nothing in particular are agnostic, are like 80% and 60%. That you want to know what video it switched to right from that? I didn't even select this. It switched to this. Evangelical Christianity is a business, so he converted to the LDS, which is not a business. Let's get into prohibition.
Oh man, that's the thing I've noticed about Jacob. And
should we pull your post of?
Yeah, if you want to, but I mean, just because like this is the thing is that this is one of those many situations where I love that Thomas Sowell quote. In fact, I just sent it to somebody on Facebook while I was Facebooking while podcasting. But when it comes to extremely complex societal level issues, there are no solutions. There are only trade-offs.
Yeah.
And like Jacob is saying like, oh, there's no down, like prohibition worked. First off, that's the other thing. Like, FYI, did you know prohibition worked? And he has a couple of links to like totally cherry picked stuff. And it's just funny because a lot of Mormons are pushing back on him on not just the libertarian aspect of it, of just like, well, you have to let people make their own choices. Remember, it was Satan who tried to tell people how to live. But also just like the historical reality that prohibition did not work. Like he's trying to claim it. Well, it worked because overall drinking went down. It's like, okay, if that's your only metric, then maybe you've got a point. But, if you take everything else into account. But this thing I noticed, like, and I mean, part of it is that like Jacob is doing this podcast. He set himself up as an apologist, and which he puts himself in a position of that, like he can't back down. And I've never seen Jacob back down from an untenable position. Like even when his fellow Mormons push back on him, I've never seen him back down from an untenable position. But this wasn't even like the good post. The one I thought that was funny is that I turned his collective witness model around on him and pointed out that most of the Old Testament prophets, Jesus Christ, Joseph Smith, Brigham Young, most of the early membership of the church, the leadership of the church, I should say, the apostles, they all made, drank, sold alcohol. Not to mention the Doctrine and Covenants commands Mormons to make wine for sacrament, and it says make beer. It says beer is fine. There's no restriction on beer.
Yeah.
No,
I thought about this. And I feel like the whole collective witness model, I don't think it works well, but I feel like what he's trying to do, because I've never heard him say this. He's the only Mormon apologist type person I've never heard say did two things. One, he's speaking as a man rather than speaking as a prophet. That's a stupid cop-out. I hate that. And then the other one is policy versus doctrine. I feel like he's trying to avoid those because they're obviously fucking dumb. I don't think the collective witness model is like.
Well, it's also dumb. The collective witness model is just another layer of dumb on top of speaking as a prophet.
I think all I'll say is that it's less dumb because those are so. Because
no, he like.
Well, it's at least something, is what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
I don't
guess so.
If 8 people say this thing, then it's good. Like, well, okay, but I could come up with a bunch of examples where it's not good. But at any rate, like when I say that's policy, not doctrine, you're just post hoc claiming things policy that you would have at the time claimed doctrine, which makes you then now cautious to claim anything at all as doctrine, which is a problem.
Yeah. No, like, I don't know. This is the thing is, I mean, to cut to the chase, I think that Jacob's collective witness model is just his special pleading model. Whatever he wants to be the truth is what he'll say. They'll just say, that's what it really is. Because I mean, I don't know. And like, it's the thing I keep coming back to over and over and over again, which is just do yourself the favor and say it's faith. Stop trying to make this into like rational thing that everybody should believe because it's true. Like 2 + 2 = 4 is true, or that like a square is a polygon with 4 90-degree angles. Like,
I guess what would that?
These are objective truths,
Yeah.
But,
well, so what would that look like? Because it seems to me that religious people would probably just always claim that the thing that I believe is objectively true. So I guess are there real world examples you can think of that of religious people just claiming that it's faith in a way that would be fair in that Christopher Hitchens quote?
I mean, I don't know. Ordinary religious people, yes. Religious apologists, never. You know what I mean? Like the people are like, look, this is like ordinary religious people, like ordinary chapel Mormons understand faith the way we always understood faith, the way that faith is talked about by the church, the way that everybody understands faith. It's knowing what you know ain't so.
Sure. So, but
and then
I
it's the
guess
apologists to come along and say like, well, no, it's not that at all. Actually, you have all the evidence to believe, which is like, and this is something that I've realized for a long time that I think is not I shouldn't say realize necessarily. It's not the right word, but like apologists are undermining religion in the sense that like, because I always understood in Mormonism, and I've listened to 10,000 hours of Christian talk radio and Catholics and all this stuff, where they say actually no, faith is a requirement of salvation. And I mean the traditional sense of faith of believing things without evidence, that it's a requirement of salvation. And apologists, by trying to make like these scientific, logical arguments for why my God is the real God and the church I belong to has all the right ideas, you are undermining faith. Like you are actually leading people away from salvation, because if there really is just a nuts and bolts mathematical argument to be made as to why Mormonism is true, well, then there's no reason to have faith.
Sure. So I guess like it seems to me like most apologists, what they're trying to do is bring religion more into the intellectual realm, and I'm trying to figure out is that just a stupid thing to try to do? Is that an impossible endeavor?
Well, I mean, this is the thing. Is like I don't think that apologists like Jacob are cognitively thinking it, but I think it's like in that subconscious layer, they know it's there, which is that they understand that with the traditional idea of faith, they have no reason to say that, for example, Islam is wrong. Like in the traditional view of faith, Mormonism and Islam have the exact same footing, and there's the exact same reasons to be a Muslim as to be a Mormon. And for a lot of ordinary religious people, they have no problem with that. They're like, no, this is my faith. That's my faith. Their faith is their faith. My faith is my faith. But I think that Jacob Hansen has a bit of an authoritarian streak, where, like I say, he won't back down when he's wrong. Even when people that are ostensibly on his side are pushing back and saying like, well, no, I think you're wrong on this. Like I said, I've never seen him back down.
Sure. I guess the more I get into this stuff, the more I'm like, if I could live in a society that was mostly Mormon or mostly atheist, I'd probably live in the mostly Mormon society.
Yeah.
I'm there too. And so it's almost like I can't quite blame Mormon apologists.
Laws.
Once they start passing laws, then you're fucked. Like,
yeah.
So
that's one of the things I like. Why I've always liked Mormonism is that like Mormonism has enshrined the Bill of Rights as being from God, and the Bill of Rights says that Mormonism can't impose their shit on ordinary people, So
yeah,
like,
I mean, they try to sometimes.
Jacob does, but that's things like there are like in this argument about prohibition, there's a bunch of active Mormons saying like it's not like we can't impose ourselves, especially with government at the at the butt of a gun. Like a lot of people have pointed out, like
you
Jacob
are a minority religion.
guy.
Like if Christian nationalism, whatever sort of deal, actually got a hold of political power, they would ban you Mormons as much as they would ban us atheists.
Yeah.
If it goes to politics, we're in the same boat. You're a minority who's getting voted. Your stuff's getting voted out. You're not going to be able to. Although maybe those Christian nationalists would help you by prohibiting alcohol or whatever. Who knows what their ultimate laws they'd be that they'd pass. But they'd also pass that you can't have the Book of Mormon or something like that, or preach that sort of shit if they could.
Well, I mean, like for example, it is obviously an enormous concession to the corporation of the presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that the majority of public school students in Utah that are members of the church get to just leave school for one period every day to go off campus to the church property abutting the school property. Like, isn't it weird how the church always manages to get that zoning?
No, it's always it's actually pretty funny because in Idaho we did the same thing, and it's the amount of credits that you need to pass
Yeah.
high school in my school district was exactly the amount of credits you could get while taking
it was the
Yeah,
same
that's one of
year,
those,
and
like,
that actually
if
messed
you're
me up.
Mormon and
That messed
if
me
you're
up in high
non-Mormon in
school.
Utah, you can graduate early if you're smart.
Yeah.
You just got to game the system a little bit.
Yeah, but
and
if
can
you
graduate
also,
early.
if you are Mormon, if you get like one class off or get in trouble for like one thing, you're in trouble and going to summer school or something like that. Because
Yeah.
so I didn't get to walk with, Kevin could tell the whole story about this. I didn't get to walk with my graduating class because I got in trouble. We had these things called like U services and all that sorts of stuff. But it did affect me that I had time allotted for, like, I wouldn't have had it in my school if I'd just gone to regular class in that time frame that I had that other stuff. And so I had to go to summer school for 1 week. I had like a high GPA and everything like that stuff, but I didn't get to walk with the class, and I had to go to summer school for 1 week afterwards. But it wouldn't have happened to me if I wasn't going to institute all along, which I didn't go to very much. I have the letter. I should ask my parents if I have it. In 10th grade, I got asked to not return to class because I was a hampering to the spirit. I have the letter somewhere. I really do. And but then I just didn't go. Like when we were graduating from that, I mean, I guess kids cared if they went to BYU or something. Like when everybody was suddenly caring that they got like the 4 years and were doing like all the makeup work to get the 4 years. Did that happen in your school? Like we got towards like graduation, and then there's all these kids who realized they weren't getting like a 4-year seminary graduation.
See,
so then they gave them like these options to do all this makeup work, and I was like, "What the hell? Like I don't give a shit." Like I got a 2 out of 4 year seminary graduation, and they still make me go to graduation in the middle of the Jazz finals game, and and I'm like, "Why am I here for a 2 out of 4 year graduation thing?" No, Anyway,
but
I feel weird saying this, but I actually enjoyed seminary. That was one of the weird fucking, like, I hated every moment of my mission, but I remember enjoying seminary.
That is weird.
I never had that issue. I ditched it a couple times, but not very often.
So, growing up in church with my friends I grew up around, we were just complete jokester hellions. None of us took any of it seriously. My whole youth, right? We just were jokesters, whatever, all the way through. We got all sorts of teachers to quit on us because we just, right? When I got to seminary in high school, that was the first time I saw other kids my age taking it seriously. And I was so confused. I was like, what's going on over here with these
guys? What are you guys, fucking gay or something?
I was like, come on, this is joke time, guys. This is time to like just crack the jokes. And
this isn't actually church. We can fuck around.
Yeah.
We had this great moment, I remember, at seminary where the teacher's like, okay, so this next chapter we're going to read, like, obviously, let's be adults about this. So the verse says, Isaac and Rebecca sported in a tent. Do we know what that means? Let's all be adults. And this kid that always wore a My Chemical Romance jacket, in the back, he raised his hands and he's like, yeah, Jordan. And the kid goes, they banged. Oh my God, I laughed my ass off. That was one of the funniest moments ever.
Yeah, it wasn't seminary, but it was at my cousin's house when we were kids, and we were trying to do, my aunt and uncle were trying to, get us holy. And we were doing scripture reading at home, and it was the story of Joseph in Egypt. And it's the scene where Joseph sees his brothers, and his brothers don't know that it's Joseph, but Joseph knows it's his brothers. And the scriptures say his bowels did yearn. And my uncle or aunt, one of them, says, like, well, what do you think that means? And my cousin said, he had to poo. Like, that was like 1988. And to this day, it sticks out in my memory. Because that was a great answer to that.
That's funny.
About this, like with Jacob Hansen and
let's read you what your post is there.
Oh, that one, yeah.
His brother mentioned the collective witness model, and Flip made that point on the Facebook. He says, most prophets, including many Old Testament prophets, Jesus, Joseph Smith, Brigham Young, and most of the early apostles of the Restoration produced and or consumed, sold alcohol. The word of wisdom commands us to make wine for sacrament, and specifically allows for making beer with no restrictions. Look who just, did you see that?
I capitalized it for him.
Applying the collective witness model, we must conclude that some amount of alcohol consumption is sanctioned by God.
Well, no, the thing is, you know what got lost in all this, which is where it's like, and this is where I will use this podcasting thing to call out Jacob, because it was lost in all the comments. But like in one of the comments, Jacob says something to the effect of, any amount of alcohol consumption is a societal cancer. He called it that. And I asked him, and like, maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I know he's running a whole page. He's got a lot of people linking him, naming him and stuff. But I asked him specifically, when Jews drink wine as part of Passover observance, are they contributing to societal cancer? I think that Jacob ignored that question because he can't answer that without backing off of where his position. And this is the thing, is like, call Jacob out. Like, Jacob, sometimes it's okay to back down from an untenable position. Like, I'm on your side that alcohol is a serious societal problem. Alcohol, like, and I'm saying this as somebody who sells wine for a living. Like, my business is wine and alcohol. And I say all the time, ethanol is a deadly poison. Alcohol is the most socially destructive drug on earth. But prohibition is worse.
So it feels to me like we're kind of asking the wrong question, because I had a discussion about this it was actually with my wife the other day. We were talking about alcohol, and I said it feels obvious to me that if alcohol just didn't exist, like zero alcohol consumption would be preferable to the amount of alcohol consumption right now. That actually seems obvious to me, and that kind of seems like the way that most people who try to be pro-prohibition. But that's not actually the question. That I think the real question is there any amount of alcohol consumption that is preferable to no alcohol consumption? Right? Like, in an individual's life, would it be preferable to me to have like a certain number of glasses of wine? Maybe not as much as I do now, maybe not as much as most people do now, but would that number be preferable to 0 glasses of wine ever? Like, because there's something to be said about maybe some social cohesion that could happen with alcohol consumption.
Like, you're saying it helps, it's a better than a worse?
So no, what I'm saying is that, like, if we're putting like a number value to it, and if what we drink right now is 100 alcohol points, we're comparing it to the potential, like the hypothetical of drinking 0 alcohol, right?
Yeah.
So it's 100 alcohol, 0 alcohol. Obviously, 0 alcohol is preferable to 100 alcohol. 10 alcohol is preferable to 0 alcohol. I don't know.
This is where things get extremely complicated, and I'm going off of memory here, and I'm probably getting the details wrong, but there was, at some point in evolutionary history, one of the evolutionary points where humans broke off of the rest of primates was a mutation that allowed us to metabolize ethanol. Because like our chimpanzees and gorillas, our nearest genetic relatives, can't metabolize ethanol. And because the upshot of that is,
so they can drink as much as they want and not get drunk?
No, it's poison. It's even more poison. I think it's even
it'll
more
hurt
poison.
them.
But the point is that our ancestors were able to eat fruit that had fallen off the tree and had begun to ferment when other mammals can't. And that became an evolutionary advantage. Like, we are literally designed, because this is one of the things about it where it's like, because I'm getting into it with all kinds of people about wine and the Bible and stuff, where it's like, guys, before refrigeration, as soon as you squeeze grapes, like, fermentation begins immediately. It can't be stopped. There was no refrigeration. There was no pasteurization. And like, unless you were eating grapes off the vine, if you wanted to store fruit for any amount of time, you were producing ethanol. That's how that works. I think that's why wine is such a big deal in the Bible, because wine was a big deal to civilization, because we like to keep fruit around to eat for later. But if you store fruit for any amount of time, it begins to ferment. That's how that works.
So I
That's
wasn't
just
able
like
to
your
find
opinion, man.
it. I wasn't able to find it, but did you ever watch The District?
District 9? No.
No,
No. So
district.
it was
A Mormon
called
movie?
The District. They used it when I was on my
Comedy.
mission. It was pretty new. It was like a Mormon missionary training thing. It was like a documentary crew followed around a group of missionaries.
This
And
rings a bell, but just a little
they
bell.
were I can't find the fucking clip. I wish I could. It's hilarious. But yeah, there's this. They're talking to an investigator, and they tell him they're like, we're not allowed to drink. They're teaching him word of wisdom. We can't drink alcohol. And he said, well, why? Jesus drank wine. And the elder does that thing where it's not his fault. He's been told. He said it was grape juice. And the guy's like, okay, that doesn't make any fucking sense. That's actually not possible back then. They had no way to prevent the wine from fermenting. If
you grew the grapes, you could have juice. No one else could have juice.
So it was actually kind of it was an impressive moment for the Mormon Church, because they took that for the missionaries as a teaching moment to be like, don't teach this stupid fucking thing, because that's stupid. It's not real.
Yeah, ordinary people understand that, like, in a time before refrigeration, the only people who had fresh fruit juice were the people growing the fruit. But if you were 8 hours away, you were drinking a mildly fermented wine. And if you were 3 days away, that was wine.
Evil. Miss Connie said she's been attending the fair conference the past few days.
Oh God, what's that like?
Fun.
Sounds like
Christopher Rice says his
fair sounds like the worst possible combination of church and school.
He told me what it was once. I forgot what it was, Christopher Rice, but his religious upbringing, which was not LDS, was also anti-alcohol. Soda's okay. I can't make sense of the word of wisdom. Soda's okay, but green tea is out. It's because you're not using the spirit, man.
Green tea was okay in Brazil.
Use the spirit, jackass. Yeah,
the word of wisdom pamphlet, instead of saying tea, it said black tea. And I remember that specifically because I was in.
Okay.
I went.
I thought green tea was bad too.
Nope, not in Brazil. Seriously, I was in Nebraska.
Well, like green tea, or just machi?
No, green tea. So
they included green tea. Wow.
I'll explain it. When I was in Nebraska waiting for my visa, it had all the five things: the illegal drugs, tobacco, alcohol, coffee, and tea. And then I got to Brazil, and it specifically said black tea. It didn't say chá; it said chá preto. And I was like, wait a minute, is that how they say tea in Brazil? And they're like, no, that's how they say black tea. And I was like, so can we drink other teas? And they're like, yeah. And my trainer was like, I still try to avoid green and white tea because they're from the same leaf, but they don't mind it here so much. And I was like, wait, we have different God standards for these people so that they'll join our church. It's kind of like you meet some Samoans that have tattoos, and
the extra double irony of that. The extra double irony of that is that the darker your tea, the less caffeine. The greener your tea, the more caffeine. Fermented.
It's not about caffeine, man. You can drink all the energy drinks you want with.
Oh, that's right.
100% ginseng, 1,000,000% caffeine. I always heard that what the ultimate thing was I guess
obedience.
It was came down. Obedience. Emma complained about stuff, and then kind of holding on to certain things specifically, like coffee and tea and whatever sort of stuff that got specifically named, which aren't actually directly said like that in the word of wisdom, was because Brigham Young was trying to cut off trading lines to the east, and he didn't want those trades to keep.
When I was a missionary and I was doing when I was trying to sell this on potential converts, because that's the thing that I think, to this day, I think it's hilarious, is that because the word of wisdom like came after, if I recall, maybe I'm wrong, but if in my memory, it feels like the word of wisdom discussion came after the tithing discussion.
That was
And
the
when
fifth,
you're like,
the last one, I think.
yeah, because I can tell
Word
you,
of
like,
wisdom was 6.
I think so, yeah, because like,
Well, I
but
guess we didn't have discussions. We had
oh yeah,
we
we had the
five
discussion,
more.
but I remember that tithing was an easier sell than you can't drink coffee anymore.
Yeah.
Like for
Tithing,
real.
well, especially in Mexico, tithing was a way easy sell. They were just like,
Oh, because
church
like I
wants
mean,
me
I
to
was in
do
Northern
that.
California, where money mattered.
See, in
But
Brazil,
like,
they
if
just
people
didn't
were like,
take it
"Oh,
very
give 10%
seriously.
of my money to the church," yeah, okay.
It
But when
mattered
people
in
are like,
Mexico.
"You
They were
can't
just
drink,"
so used to being church means money. Yeah.
oh, dinero, sí.
Dinero, sí. Quieren dinero.
Necesita dinero,
I'm
sí.
telling you right now, most of the people we talked to did not quite understand that we weren't just Catholics. They're trying to like reactivate them. It's like here's the brethren here to reactivate me. I get wow, this Catholic Church doesn't look like it did the other day, but I mean whatever.
No, there was a bunch of people that just kind of thought that they didn't realize what a commitment Mormonism was. They would just kind of be sure, I guess I'll join or whatever. I'm Catholic, I'm Protestant, I'll be Mormon too.
Yeah, sure.
You're going on a mission.
And you'll be like, will you pay tithing? And they'll be like,
It was real weird to get mission companions who were like kids who had no idea what any of this was 6 months ago and weren't like that into it. Like they weren't super converted. They were just like, okay.
Yeah, that was insane.
And next thing you know, they're out on a mission. Like, where am I? What am I doing here? It's not the weirdest 2 years I spent. I mean, I ended up in California. You know?
I can be a Mormon or I can join a cartel.
I know that. There was a lot of Brazilians that would just do it because they're like, it's it's like the church was like, well, you don't have the means to pay for it, so the mission fund will pay for it. Because I had to pay for my whole mission. There's this weird dispute I always had with my companions, where like the more self-righteous ones, they'd be like, no, you can't spend your money on that. That's the church's money. And I'd say, fuck you. I paid for that. Like I worked at goddamn Wendy's to pay for this shit, man.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I paid like $2,000, but the church covered my ass.
Look at this. It's sad to remember that Pee Wee Herman died this week. That's when he's not here in this chair. Just kidding. Let's see. We're going up to no Pee Wee Herman.
Look at those.
Oh, we miss you, Pee Wee.
Dog's eyes all black and dead.
Sam Shelley looks AI generated right there.
Yeah. So they criticized the critics of the Barbies. They said that
I love the constant giving Taylor Swift a pass for rampant capitalism.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to go to. The whole last half of this is them dealing with the dialectic of the Enlightenment and them dealing with that they have to live in capitalism and they have to live in
Sam Shelley,
you
actually have to use Amazon Prime. You can't function without using it.
Prime. I have to deal with it. Barbies are made of plastic and killing the earth, but I want a Barbie. I want one. And it kills the earth. Maybe they can give me a Barbie and they can pull up the ladder so no more little girls could have the Barbie, and then we save the earth from the oil that's used to make these Barbies.
It's probably not true, it's probably a net positive.
Probably a net positive, all the Barbies. Should I go on normal speed, a little faster?
Yeah. I think like this is our whole channel is being like the things that we love and can be so good also are associated with like deep problems, and we're all just like talking about all of it because we're all enmeshed and entangled in it.
Like I would buy this Barbie whipped body butter. It is vegan. It has rose water in it.
Nice, love both of those. When there was an investigation into the Chinese factory where the Barbies are produced.
Oh, of course there was.
And it's like all the executives and management are men, all the women working like really absurd hours for really low pay and really.
That's the whole thing. Just like all you have to do to appease the leftists is like put an ironic reference to how bad you are, and then just keep doing it. Like, make a movie that ironically references that you're bad, and then just keep going.
There's like open toilets, cockroaches in their food, and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Where it's like, okay, and it's the interesting thing where Mattel gets the benefit of self-satirizing, showing that self-awareness to be like, haha, yes, I've been guilty like anybody, and yes, the corporate managers are so naughty. Will Ferrell, such a silly man. Meanwhile, the actual women who are making the actual product are being,
But this is something I point this out to leftists all the time on the internet, because the culture industry that Adorno talks about, like you guys then turning a product into making commentary on the commentary on the commentary of that is also the culture industry. You're also annexed into it. Hate to break it to you. These guys said that the right wing couldn't do any good analysis of this. So even if there was something to critique about it, it was all left wing critique that was good about it. I guarantee they don't even know. Like these guys didn't understand that it had been co-opted by the right in a bunch of places.
I will say this: we're talking about it, and so like Barbie having more focus on this is me being a bit of an optimist for once, but Barbie having this focus on it and us sort of celebrating the ways that it is progressive also is bringing to light things that, like, had Barbie not been any kind of international focus, we probably wouldn't be thinking about Barbie factories, So let's hope. Like, I know what you're saying. I mean, obviously it's PR and it's like it does a good job being that, but yeah, it is kind of creative.
It's so cynical, but we can also love Barbie. We have to spend 48 minutes justifying why we like a stupid Barbie movie because we made it a big dumb stupid feminist bullshit thing.
Creating this collective expectation of Barbie to be a good brand, which I think probably could have like a net benefit, because you don't want to think that this enterprise franchise, what do you call it, brand, that that you resonated with so much is doing that to their workers in China.
And it sucks because any film or creative
you don't want to think that they're doing that to their workers in China.
So stop thinking about it. That'll make it not
happen.
But
there's a net good. There's a net good that the Uyghurs are in prison because girls over here can become girl bosses and shit.
Well, I mean, I saw like this happen. I mean, we mentioned it on whenever it came out. I know I talked about it, but I remember like months ago, whenever it was, when they announced that, for the first time ever, Mattel has produced Down syndrome Barbie. and the left was all like, hooray! And it's like my whole life, literally my whole life, I've been hearing about like, Barbie is bad for little girls. It provides an unrealistic body image. It's not okay. And then I was like, oh no, it's okay to do that to Down syndrome girls. Like, let's give them body dysmorphia. Okay. Whatever you say.
I just don't get it. I don't know. I guess it's my male privilege that keeps me from understanding, like, Barney makes unrealistic beauty standards for our young girls. And then I'm like, well,
and we can't help but absolutely love it and eat it up and buy it. And
yeah, I don't know. Like, what does like Thor and Captain America do for the boy? Like, because it doesn't. When I look at Thor and Captain America, I don't think those are just unattainable beauty standards. I think, fuck, I gotta work out.
Yeah,
and that's it. That's
or like this is a mythical representation. Like this is an idealized.
Sure, like it's a hero thing. Like if I'm gonna fantasize, like if I'm doing pure escapism, I'm not gonna look like me. I'm not gonna have tits. Okay.
Yeah. Oops.
Well, the other thing I think there is obviously, like, I mean, with Sam Shelley, I think it's clear, and she's like a perfect example of this, where it's like it's a little bit of that. Like the way they say that, the anti-gay Christians are actually just secretly gay. Well, I think the anti-Barbie feminists are just secretly really want to be Barbie. Like this, you're just trying to cope with the fact that you like this and you.
Yeah, well, one of the things Sam said is she appreciates this film because it allows them to like girly stuff once again.
Yeah.
You guys know
not allowed to do that.
Do you guys know of the famous speech from the film yet?
Sam, you have my permission to be stereotypically feminine.
Yeah, we're a bunch of certified bigots.
By the power of the patriarchy, I grant you permission to be stereotypically feminine if you want to.
That's pretty fucking nice of you, man.
I know. I'm one of the good ones.
You sneaky
Sam, you are so repulsive to me on the personal level that it doesn't matter what you do, I will never want to have sex with you. So I'm giving you permission to be as feminine and girly and sexy as you want, because it will never work on me, because you are
man, are we going
such
for
a dope.
Are we going for a second response video from Sam?
She's like, just clips out that one little bit.
I could do much better than you anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Flip.
It's okay. I'm actually okay with that.
I want you to think about this. It's literally it's literally impossible to be a woman. You're so beautiful and you're so smart, and it kills me that you don't think you're good enough. Like, we have to always be extraordinary, but somehow we're always doing it wrong. You have to be thin, but not too thin. And you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy, but also you have to be thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean.
That's what America Ferrera said in her phenomenal speech during the Barbie movie, because she talked about how difficult it is to be a woman and how we're always doing things that we'll never measure up to, and they'll always want us to be prettier and skinnier and stuff like that. Oh, really?
But if you look at it, the whole entire speech just shows once again, Peterson's right, that there's differences on averages between the sexes. And one of the things that women are more likely to do is be highly aware and worried about social appearances, keeping up appearances. Once again, we talked earlier about keeping up appearances, and Hyacinth, I'm sure Sam knows Hyacinth from her days over in Britain or whatever. That's what Mormonism seemed like to me growing up. Not this, but people who were very, very obsessed with what they appeared like to the people around them. And this whole speech is pure obsession with what others think, not what the self thinks. And nobody's putting that on women except women themselves. You know. Should we keep going on stuff, or should we rappers are up?
I'm up for whatever.
Do anything.
Anything.
I mean, I'm playing Civilization over here while I listen and talk, and occasionally flashback when you guys reference something on the screen. I am almost out of my Macedonian wine. When was the last time you guys had anything produced in North Macedonia?
I mostly buy my products from China.
Oh,
what the fuck is happening to that thing?
We got some up close pictures of some of Bill Reel's like woodland creatures.
Whoa!
A lot of those things have a mana ear.
Oh, I didn't notice this. This lady's head's coming out of a post.
Yeah, I know. That's such a weird. It's like Elsa, but she's also made of a banister.
What is that? That's a human bun or something.
Did somebody curate all the weirdest things from the AI?
It's also.
This is what AI just always does, man.
It's always
that is like a half a head there. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, there's even kind of the little eyeball down there in the loopy thing.
Yeah, there's
Christ. Hello, friend. Is it a mouth or an eyeball? My God, Bill. Please don't ever stop doing this. This is fucking hilarious. I should quit calling for lol cows. I understand that. When he was illustrating that earlier, I need to not do that. It's just very difficult when somebody does something. I think I have an obsession with the absurd, because anytime somebody does something just absolutely fucking batshit like this, I'm like, hell yeah, keep going. This is fun.
Let me show you. So John DeLynn was exceptionally boring this week, and I did watch some of his stuff. But this is just once again the age-old claim that we make, just kind of said outright here, of DeLynnism isn't deconstruction. This one was from an episode called Deconstructing God or something like that. And guess what deconstructing God means? It means converting to progressive politics. But wait a minute. She says it.
This theory of people leaving the church via watching my friends on Facebook leave the church. My theory went something like, first you start posting about gay marriage. Then you start cussing. Then you
show your shoulders.
Then you start criticizing the church vocally, publicly. Then you're out. Then you leave. It's a pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
So here is my husband posting about gay marriage, posting. And like once he started publicly criticizing church, I'm freaking out. I remember having a conversation and being like, if you had told me when we first got married that you would eventually leave the church, this would have flabbergasted me, blown my mind. I'd be like, how would this happen? Is he becoming an alcoholic? Did he get deceived? But how? I would have no idea. And I remember telling him like, but now I can actually see how it would happen. It would be this progressive stuff. I kind of had developed.
Progressivism is Satan.
And they clipped it out. I mean, I've repeated just in a ton of different Facebook posts, just like it's not deconversion, it's conversion to progressivism. And they just said it right there for me.
There you go.
Thank you.
What was the title of that episode? Mormon missionary ends up coming home and leaving church eventually. Like that. It seems to be most of his videos now are like former Mormon missionary leaves the church. It's like, man, I've never heard of that happening.
Well,
before.
she went into a field of study. Guess what the field of study was?
Oh,
yeah, 3 guesses.
Political science.
Let me guess.
Close,
It was organic chemistry.
Right.
It was
social work.
No fucking way.
Let me just stop you right there. Please, let's keep it to relevant topics only. What's your gender? Male. Oh, rats. Ethnicity? White. Damn it. You sure you don't have any indigenous in there? A little tan? Nothing? No, just white. Well, we tried, right? Thanks for coming in. I'm gay. What did you just say? I'm attracted to men. Go on. I have a disability. ADHD. That's amazing. And I'm half Muslim. Don't stop. And I'm actually big up, man. Yes. And I'm he/they. And I'm poor. What? I grew up poor? Unfortunately, this isn't going to work out. What? Isn't that the most significant underprivileged characteristic? We want people who appear ethnically diverse, but come from upper class backgrounds. That way it gives the appearance of progress, even though they have identical social economic backgrounds as us. Oh. Next.
That's why it's okay for the Uyghurs to make your Barbies, because good progressive stuff happens on the other side.
Oh man, I'm excited about these Bill Reel videos, man. I want to make a video for each one of them.
Do you want to do a video of the Bill Reel left the church because he was offended?
Oh God, I forgot about that. Like, here, the thing is, it's so very predictable. Okay, so for anybody who's watching, Bill Reel has a video titled, I left the Mormon church because I was offended. I'm going to give you exactly 5 seconds to understand what he means by that.
Church is bad.
I was offended because gay people. Like, of course I was offended because I'm on the right side of history.
This is what I'm telling you. This is what, I don't know, maybe Flip and I have been saying since before, is that people who left the church before 2012, it wasn't like this.
No.
It was I don't know, it's kind of like Dan Vogel going over stuff, you know what I mean? It wasn't all getting like morally haughty about stuff.
No, that's what it was when I swear to God, when I left, it was still people mostly, and that was like 2014, it was mostly people saying like, well, it's just kind of, the history, the Book of Abraham, stuff like that, stuff that doesn't totally add up.
A lot
and
of
now
specific claims don't bear out.
Yeah, but some of those same people that I saw make that claim, I was like, oh, you were just making whatever the popular claim was at the time. Because now I see you saying, I just couldn't stomach the LGBTQIA plus discrimination issues and the patriarchy and all that shit. And it'll change as soon as the next popular issue comes up. Those people will retroactively have left the church for a more virtuous reason.
You want a merit badge for leaving the church nowadays, and that's why I've said before that the deconstruction thing, the way they say it, might as well be like a young woman's medallion nowadays. I did my deconstruction exercises today. Give me my young woman's medallion for it.
We need to make CTG rings. Choose the gay.
Yeah, we got to make all the hymns, all the Disney songs.
Choose the gay.
So I was going to put this picture in place of when Papa was reading. I actually,
that's right, Mr. Slave.
I actually have it right here. Hold on, I was starting to do it, but I didn't have...
Jesus Christ, Jesus! Woo!
Yeah. See, I had a look. I even put his book in his hand right there, so I could just like anytime Papa's talking, I could put this in, and then he's like, "Hello, children." This is, and then Drag Story Hour, Mr. Slave Story Hour, which is the main thing kids need to read and understand nowadays, as we know. I don't know. What did you guys see Jim Gaffigan on Joe Rogan or any of that?
I saw a clip.
And the Trump stuff.
Clip. Yeah, no, and that was.
Yeah, Jim Gaffigan and Joe Rogan had a tough couple hours or something because Jim Gaffigan I guess he's only ever watched CNN. Well, he's only ever watched CNN in his life. That's all it is. I mean, it's funny to think that there still are certain people of a certain age who really have only taken in CNN in the past 8 years. And like how warped your mind is if that's all you've seen.
Well, that thing is like, I mean, I don't know. I saw somebody reference it. I didn't look it up myself, but somebody referenced it. Like, there's been research done more than once that shows that, in general, conservatives consume some liberal media, whereas liberals consume no conservative media.
Yeah. This used to be, if you go to like the original, like W.E.B. Du Bois, the guy who like they say is the original critical theorist, he had that idea of double consciousness, and the double consciousness was blacks could have the two consciousness, some of the black people and some. It actually is pulling from Marx because Marx claims it's the same too, but they have to live in both worlds. I have to live in the white world to work, but I also live in the black world, so I have a double consciousness of the two things, and you can't know what my other consciousness is because you only live in the one world. But all that's kind of holds true with if you live in the CNN world of this or that, the other. Well, this might be changing a little bit now because it does seem a little bit easier to weed out whatever you don't want to see. But we're still in a world where you still can't get away from all the leftist ideas and mentioning and whatever in the movies and the TV shows and all that stuff. And you can totally still completely weed. Like Sam and Tanner had no idea that there was right-wing thought on that Barbie movie or even right-wing acceptance of that Barbie movie. They had no clue. Yeah. They had no clue. And there's all sorts of right-wing people who completely co-opted it and love it. I saw V bring up a couple things like the original Starship Troopers was supposed to be a complete takedown of fascism, and nowadays it is just 100% like fascist porn. People are like, yeah, this is something we totally co-opted for our own thing. Of like, yeah, this is awesome. And
let's try it.
We mentioned Black Panther, but there's another one, and Barbie might be fully co-opted by the Kenocracy thing, like fully. There's a ton of people who pointed out. I mean, I don't know, let's listen to what V says about it because he had a good point about it.
Good old V.
V. Here it is. That are present screen. And of course, they said the only good critique of the Barbie movie is left-wing critique. The right-wing critique's only shallow. They only saw Ben Shapiro critique it, and that's all they know about. But
yeah,
I meant to watch the Ben Shapiro critique.
I just fine. He just didn't like it because it was feministy, but he didn't.
He did
do
that
the thing
stupid
where
Ben
co-opting
Shapiro
it.
thing. He did the Ben Shapiro thing where he's like, "This movie was more than just trash. It was a flaming heap of garbage on top of a fire, on top of a dirty diaper." And then and
then he burned
and then
the
he
Barbie.
burned Barbies, which
He was obviously
Whoa.
trying to go. He was trying to go viral with it, and it worked. But
Yeah.
it was.
The other thing is,
stupid.
like, I mean, I like Ben Shapiro's takes on a lot of things, but he sucks at culture, like pop culture in particularly.
He used to be all right at it. His reviews, like when everybody was shitting on Game of Thrones as if it was porn, he was backing Game of Thrones. But I don't know, the last 4 years or so, he's sucked ass on all things media, not media, art.
Yeah.
A lot of works of art where the author wants to portray something, but it ends up portraying quite the opposite. Many of you know Starship Troopers. The movie director wanted to portray fascismus, but instead he portrays quite a based society. Keep your rifle by your side. If you Google that, you're going to find Ubisoft music, which again was supposed to be the anthem of the evil guys, but it's actually pretty based.
Did you guys ever play Far Cry
Bird Box
5?
is a great example. The guy that they
So
Is that the one with Giancarlo with what?
That's 6.
Oh.
So the Far Cry is known for having good villains, right? 3 and 4 are the best ones. 4 is my favorite. 5 was decent, and the reason I say it was like some of the things were dumb. It was a build your own character, which is stupid because Far Cry is very main character driven. But it was like a religious cult in Montana.
I saw a video of it.
Like an extremist cult, and the characters were kind of cool. It was a little bit dumb that like it's like every third character you run into in rural Montana is like an ethnic minority, which is odd. And this Christian death cult, like every other soldier is woman, which is really weird. And whenever they refer to you with gender neutral pronouns, which is also odd. But anyway, the music was fucking fantastic in that, and that's where that came from. The "Keep Your Rifle by Your Side." That's one of the songs that they wrote. I fucking parody Christian music is so much better than actual Christian music.
I'm hearing, like, I don't know the song, but I'm just hearing "Put Your Shoulder to the Wheel." But
yeah,
keep your rifle by your side, keep it there.
Yeah.
When the
I was thinking about
up.
this a while back because I started watching like Sons of Anarchy, and then I started watching Justified, and I couldn't get through very much of them. I'm just not really my thing. And then I was thinking about Breaking Bad. They were thinking about all these games, and I'm like, wait a minute. All these super online kids nowadays in all the movies, because the only thing white people could be cast in for the past 10, 15 years, and the only movies they could make is these white supremacists got to take out these white supremacists, or these guys got to. It seems to them that there's roaming bands of millions of white supremacist gangs out there because that's all that's been in entertainment for 10 years.
Yeah, this
is
sorry, go
this
on.
is the evil
Did you share it on?
MAGA supporter, the bald guy. Had they listened to him, probably most people would be alive by the end of the movie. And Barbie is the last one in this line where apparently the media is now saying that men are watching it wrong. The only reason you would say that people are watching a movie wrong is if it's a 3D movie and people don't put their glasses on, right? There is no right or wrong way to watch a movie. The problem is that the men are not getting the propaganda that the writer of these pieces hoped that the men would be getting. And the movie basically says that when Ken is listening to Barbie, he ends up being homeless, shirtless, and craving for attention. But when Ken does what he wants to do, over 90% of the Barbies and the Kens are happy. So I'm sorry, but like if you actually watch the movie as you are supposed to, like you don't get any sort of indoctrination, you realize that Barbie's actually a really bad person. Like my wife, she doesn't know anything about American politics, doesn't know what a Democrat, doesn't know what a Republican is, and also didn't know what the fuck is Barbie's problem. But apparently, as you can see here, Barbie has dominated at the box office. Many people are wondering, like, why is it such a political thing? It's due to the culture war. Like, when in 2023, the culture is tense, and many people are trying to claim their movies as their own. And this is why right-wingers should definitely claim this movie as our own. Like, if I were to have a kid, I would be like, look, this is what feminism does to society. Like, notice how everyone is happy, but this woman is miserable. She represents a minority. Oh, look, she's kidnapping other women and indoctrinating them into explaining to them why they're being oppressed. And now she's fortifying the elections. And after she destroyed the society, look, she's going to the patriarchy of the real world. Like, she doesn't even want to live there in the place that she created. Like, she doesn't even know what she wants. She just destroys. So that is the moral of the movie. Like, I'm sorry, the movie is pro-patriarchy. Like, when Ken installs his patriarchy, almost everyone is happy. Like, over 90% of people are happy.
Everywhere the
What more can you
longhouse
do? So
goes, it
apparently,
destroys.
people are
If you want a black pilling, like Benjamin Boyce had on this guy who was he was working in the marketing world for 6, 7, 8 years, and he talks about the longhouse in the marketing world. And it explains so much, because if you think about all the crap marketing we had, and he said there's no Don Drapers anymore. There's 90% women, and it's 90% decided upon committee. What types of ads do you think you're getting? Like, we went to those Super Bowl commercials expecting new things. Like, if you realize for the past 10 years it's been 90% women voting by committee of what video gets up, that's why you don't have office linebacker anymore. That's why the closest thing you have to something funny is maybe 3 celebrities singing a song, ironically, from the 70s or something like that. But other than that, it's just going to be feel good stuff. And it's not just so much that it's women, it is women, but it's also that atmosphere of like everything must be created by committee. He said the phone is like one of the funny lines he said in it, which I thought was a funny line. I guess it's a regurgitated line. Is, a camel's a horse created by committee. And like every single thing that you can really think about over time that just turned into mush and rubbish shit. It's as much as the committee decision process as it is the longhouse taking over. Somebody mentioned Tyler Fisher doing a Ben Shapiro impersonation. I'm gonna pull that up. Ben Shapiro reacts to himself reacting to Barbie. This might need to be a more normal speed.
Just a piece of shit. This movie is a flaming piece of dog shit piled atop an entire dumpster on fire, piled atop a landfill filled with dog shit.
Okay, he's nailing it right now. I have to react to this reaction video. And first of all, this reaction video of me reacting to my reaction of Barbie is brought to you by ExpressVPN Gang. By using code do not see Barbie, I would rather literally stab my eyes out and wrap myself in dog crap and light myself on fire for 10% off. Go to expressvpn.com. Now, everybody at The View is freaking out about my reaction. I don't know why anybody gives a crap about my reaction, but that's what the left does. It's the complete face tattoo syndrome, or trans penis in your face syndrome. It's like, oh, I got a penis in my face. Don't react. You react, and you're suddenly a bigot. Honestly, there's so many things I would rather do than see this movie, because I did not react harsh enough, which is why I'm reacting again. Honestly, I would rather be literally trapped inside a flaming dumpster filled with dog crap, literally with a bunch of drag queens rubbing their junk all in my face, while AOC is screaming in my ear that I'm a cis, toxic, white male, racist, bigot, and I hate Jews, even though I'm Jewish, which is absolutely crazy, but whatever. Also, while Joe Biden is literally sniffing my hair while we're all in Ukraine while Russians are shooting at me. I would rather that happen than go see this awful far left movie. So go to dailywireplus.com, check out our content, and maybe you'll actually find out what a woman is.
This movie is not
his eyebrows are. Yeah, Morgan's shown him to me before. He does like day 50 of girlhood or whatever that stuff is. I swear to God, his eyebrows are like morphing him into Eugene Levy as time goes on.
God damn, I can't.
Okay, gang, this is a really tragic occasion, but I will be speaking on the behalf of my best friend, Greg. Greg was a wonderful person. He was a wonderful father. He was a wonderful husband, a wonderful brother, and a wonderful human being. One of the best human beings I've ever met. As we know, Greg tragically fell asleep at the wheel and wrapped his car around a telephone pole in a horrible, horrible, painful death. He was exhausted. He had not been sleeping well, and if only he had been sleeping on a helium sleep mattress, this never would have happened. Go to heliumsleep.com for all types of ultra comfy mattresses. That's Helium Mattress. Sleep like your life depends on it. Use code RIP Greg for 10%. Okay, on to things I like and things that I hate. I like when my friends are alive, and I hate when my friends are dead. Now, speaking of death, we just experienced the death of Hollywood in the absolutely atrocious, horrible, feminist, propaganda-filled Barbie movie, which was terrible, absolutely terrible. Stop destroying your kids' minds and head on over to dailywireplus.com. We have all sorts of great kids programming, Terror on the Prairie with an actual woman, Gina Carano, because we know what a woman is. Use code BURN for 10% off your first month. Okay, gang, because of the tragic nature of Greg's death, he was not able to have an open casket. He had to be cremated. And it's like, nobody really knows how much a cremation should cost. Stop trusting big cremation. And luckily, his wife, Catherine, went to Chris's crematorium. Chris absolutely burns all the competition. Go to chrisscrematorium.com. Use code ASHES for 10% off. That's 10% off to burn 100% off of your loved ones. Greg and I had our differences. He was a major libtard. And what better place to put your libtard family members' remains than in a leftist ashes tumbler? After you spread their ashes at like a ELN riot or an AOC meeting or some stupid radical liberal crap like that, it works as a great coffee mug to enjoy in the morning when you're watching Ben Shapiro or the Daily Wire. Okay, gang, we're going to go to a quick reaction video. We have the actual footage of Greg crashing his car. As you can see here, he's kind of swerving to the left and swerving to the right. I think he was exhausted, mainly because he had watched Barbie the night before. Do not go see that movie. It is terrible. It is a pile of garbage wrapped in a heaping pile of garbage wrapped in dog.
It's just amazing that like the not left can make fun of the right. So like the left in their wildest fantasies could not make fun of Ben Shapiro like that.
I know. That's the most I've laughed at somebody making fun of Ben Shapiro.
Well, I was gonna because like before you played that clip, I was gonna say the funniest Ben Shapiro spoof in my mind was was when Kyle Dunnigan casts
Fresh Prez. Yeah.
Well, no, not Fresh Prez, but like for me, the funniest Ben Shapiro is Ben Shapiro as Spock in Starboat.
Oh, yeah.
But that guy just took the cake from Kyle Dunnigan. That's the best Ben Shapiro ever. That was really
like if I catch any Daily Wire shorts, which I'm actually seeing less Daily Wire like these days, but if it's like a little 10-minute video, especially if it's certain subjects and suddenly it's Birch Gold or something I'm listening to, it will jar me. It'll be like, come on, guys, not this video. It depends on the topic too. Like someone was like a goofy, funny, hey, we're watching a thing. Fine, whatever. You're going to do an ad read in the middle of it. But like there's other ones that are kind of more serious and short, like a short little 7-minute thing about, who knows what, like
The left doesn't know what a woman is, but who does know what a woman is wouldn't you like to have your mobile carrier have the correct opinions on abortion? That's why we use Virgin VPN.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
It's
actually,
jarring.
no. Here's the thing. I don't care. I don't care.
It really is jarring.
I would rather the people that I buy shit from, I would rather them not express any political views because I don't trust corporations to have political views. I know that whatever they're saying is to just get me to buy something. So I would like to just sever this illusion that they have opinions.
Like I appreciate that like Ben Shapiro is totally open about it, where he's like, this is a business. I'm in business. I want to make money. I also have values, but I also want to make money. You know, and like
also in business is Raid Shadow Legends. Try again with a new legend.
How much would you have to be paid to do a Raid Shadow Legends ad read?
Man, I wonder what
That'd
those
be
pay.
pretty embarrassing.
Everybody does one. So
How could that actually work? Like, how many people have actually clicked on it and gone like, I'm into Raid Shadow Legends now, guys.
If I paid you money, like.
A friend of mine was like,
one
I started
time
playing this game and I really like it. I'm really enjoying it. Let me send you a link. Play it with me. And he sent me the link and I downloaded it and I clicked for like 3 minutes. I just was like, it's like all of those Skinner, like, I mean, South Park made fun of it with the Terrence and Phillips mobile game. But I was just like, bored. I'm bored.
Oh yeah.
I don't get it. I'm bored.
I'll never be interested in a mobile game.
Yeah, like if other people are into it, that's fine. But
I don't know on any one of those ad read type things that I've ever bought any one of those products. I've sent like some money directly to the channels, like certain ones that I like, but I've never bought MeUndies with the code. I've never bought.
Yeah, I can say I've never used the code. To buy anything.
Nope.
And if they did convince me of buying something, I'd probably forget to use whatever code they say. Like, I'm going to check out these MeUndies, and then I wouldn't even think to put a code in the freaking thing.
Well, that's right. I could save 5% if I use my code.
Yeah, but I don't even know how it happened. I must black out or something. But I have just a ton of quartering coffee in my cup. his bugs like how he like. One of the things in all these years of podcast listening, I hate when people call attention to their segues. Like it's funny to call attention that they made a good segue or something like that. Yeah. But at the same time, that guy, the way he segues into the, by the way, just my coffee, and it's like the way he wants to make it seem so natural. Like, stop, like it's both. Because I would rather the jarring sudden cut to a
absolutely. I realized that was. I watched Michael Malice's interview with Destiny, and I realized that's how he does it. He just there's no good way to do an ad read, so just cut to you doing the ad read. That's
there's a trick to it too, because some of, like, you see actual Justice Warrior, he'll change the color in his background so you can fast forward to it if you want. Like if you look at the screen, his background.
This is another way where like I'm becoming Grandpa Simpson, where it's like, you know what? I liked it better when like the act ended, fade to black, Tide commercial. You know, I get up, go to the bathroom, microwave a burrito, come back 3 minutes later, commercial break is over, show is back on. And like just everybody knew the deal. And there was none of this sneakiness. But now it's all like, oh, we're trying to be surreptitious about it. It's like, well, you're not fooling me. But maybe the young people, I don't know, they're like, oh, I didn't know I wanted underwear until I listened to Ben Shapiro.
Separating, that also sounds terrible. They keep saying, I promise it's comfortable. I don't think. Does anybody use MeUndies out there? That does not sound comfortable to me.
The people I hear it from is Sydney Watson. And like, what is she? I promise it covers your balls.
Yeah, man.
This will cradle your balls. Okay, Sydney.
I can be honest and say that my first cognition of MeUndies is you talking about it right now.
You haven't heard people talk about it?
Like,
you just haven't paid attention.
I mean,
it's in all
it went through. I think MeUndies.
Have you watched the Michael Malice? Have you watched?
I think MeUndies ad reads went through my brain exactly the way that like Thor Ragnarok 3 went through my brain. It just went into my brain and left my brain.
You must.
Uh-oh.
Oh shit! I forgot. I watched The Flash.
Oh, hello.
Well, it took me 3 sittings. But I watched the whole thing.
That like every time I watch Plan 9 from Outer Space, I have to split it up.
I watched Casablanca, and it was like 7 sittings.
I've never seen it. It's 7 sittings good?
It's good. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's interesting. Like the
Flash
whole
wasn't 3 sittings good. It was. I watched it, and it took me 3 times, and it was. So one of the crazy things is, you know how everybody's making fun of the director for saying that the whole CGI looking shitty was on purpose?
Mm-hmm.
I actually kind of buy it for part.
Really?
Like I think it was a stupid decision, but so okay, there's 2 different CGIs that happen here. One of them is the normal CGI, and there is that scene at the very beginning where he's like slow-mo going down a falling building, and he's like saving a bunch of babies. That looks terrible, right? The CGI that they were trying to apologize for is when he's in the Speed Force, and you see all these cameos. Like you see Nick Cage as Superman, and he looks terrible. And I remember seeing the screenshot and was like, why didn't they just? Nick Cage will do fucking anything. Just give him $100 and he'll pose as Superman. Are you kidding me? And he's still alive. You didn't need to CGI it. Anyway, you find out that I'm pretty sure those Speed Force segments, they did actually do those intentionally kind of shitty, because like at one point it showed the Flash's dad, and it was a scene that he had actually been in screaming, and it was his actual normal face in the normal scene. And then when he was in the Speed Force, it was shitty, like PS3 graphic CGI. I was like, oh, you actually had to put extra effort into that. It wasn't that you half-assed the CGI on that one. It's that you added extra half-assed CGI into that scene. It's a stupid decision. It all looks terrible. But I think it might have been a stupid artistic decision in a couple of different instances.
I will never watch it to find out.
Yeah, no, it's not worth it. It's a really fucking stupid movie.
I'm gonna watch this. Have any of you heard of this movie, The Lives of Others?
No.
Mm-mm.
It's German. It's in German.
Oh, what you should watch though, if you're watching DC stuff, because I went down a DC rabbit hole last weekend. movie that The Flash is based off of is Flashpoint Paradox, which is an animated movie based on the comic. It's actually pretty decent. But then I went back and rewatched The Dark Knight Returns, and they're fucking like based. You gotta. I don't know if I'm pretty sure I sent that clip.
That's why I was saying that Behind Enemy Lines was based, and it was just like 10 years ago. I don't think you can make a movie like that based anymore. But this movie is supposedly also very based, but it's about the Stasi. It's about the Stasi listening in on a couple's relationship in Germany in like the 80s, you know. And it won a bunch of foreign Oscars, so you know it's not. And it was from 2006, from a time frame before the Oscars were taken over. And it's supposedly very, very, very good, and very, very, very eye-opening on the Stasi.
I remember that. What was it like? Said like at one point, like 3 out of 5 East German citizens were Stasi informants.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was the crazy part, is when they're like interviewing a former Stasi guard, and he talks about how like it would shock you how little you have to pressure people into becoming informants. They fucking love it.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to turn in all my fellow coworkers?
Well, the way he said it was like they're just excited to have somebody like writing down the words that they say and listening to them for a moment.
Yeah. No, it's not. This thing is like, I mean, that it's one of those things that Jordan Peterson talks about. Because like when I was a kid, I say it all the time, you know, because I was obsessed with World War II, like mostly on like just the technical stuff. I like the airplanes, and mostly I like the airplanes, and I like U-boats, and I was into the gizmology of it all. But also like, wait, how come a country turned evil for 10 years? You know, but that's things like Jordan Peterson says all the time. You are Nazis. Everybody walking on the planet today has the potential to do what the Nazis did.
Okay,
you know?
I have a. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's it. I'm good.
I have a little bit of a. Oh gosh, so the guy who was my drummer, he left to play in this other band. They released a music video, and in their music video, he got cast as the right-wing conspiracy theorist.
Oh God.
This is a band that Tanner's gone and danced on the stage for.
Guitarist in that band popped into the shop the other day. I talked to him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I gave him a recommendation on some inexpensive.
I actually liked this video. You can see Tanner wearing the picture of this band's the shirt all the time in there. He's a fan of my ex-drummer's band. But where's the? Here it is. If this is a local band, am I gonna get copyright struck? Maybe?
I doubt
it. So, and Tanner goes, I've seen him dressed as a moon person dancing on stage to this song. And this is my old drummer.
Moon too.
Yeah.
Like that movie Moon with Sam Rockwell and the acquitted of sexual assault charges.
Are we watching an Adult Swim joke right now?
Yeah, this is looking a little Tim and Eric, I'll be honest. And I like these guys. They're talented guys. I like them personally, but I'm not.
There's my former drummer. What up, Wayne? If you ever see this, he and I used to kind of get into some brawls about some different stuff. One of the biggest brawls we ever got in about was Michael Jackson.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I was trying to get out the razor fist ideas, and he just wasn't having it. But look at this. He's got Trump on his wall and like this. Oh man, the optics. That's gonna be with you forever, man.
I don't know if you noticed, but I have the American flag on the wall behind me.
I like the video. I think this is a good video though. It's kind of funny because like this song, I saw them play it when Tanner was on the stage dancing for it, doing Moon 2, and I didn't like, but actually in context of a video, it seems like a better song to me, if that makes sense. So there's some part where they get warped up because, like, the conspiracy theorists go and look for it and all that sort of stuff. But I think the whatever imagery they use right here when they get warmed up is really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I wonder how they did that.
I don't know. For me, the first person I saw that I was really impressed by their simple homemade videos was Princess Chelsea. Did I ever make you listen to Princess Chelsea?
Mm-mm.
There's a young New Zealand girl making music on her own that isn't Lorde and is 100 times better than Lorde, called Princess Chelsea. And she kind of did the same thing where she just made very simple homemade, video toaster videos. I don't know what this is called. But, I mean, she made a song called No Church on Sunday, which is like the ex-Mormons theme song. Because the whole chorus is, there ain't no church on Sunday for me.
Yeah. Those guys were, the guitarist guy was a Mormon, and I don't know if the rest of them were. Wayne,
I do have to say that drummer guy is,
he's a great drummer. Yeah.
He is a fantastic drummer.
Yeah, he is.
Really good.
Yeah, they're a good band too. They're really good. That guy can wail on the guitar. He is a ringer.
I mean, since we're talking about music band stuff, because I play in Brazilian Cultural Art Project community art band, and so they get hired for a lot of community art stuff. And this last week we did a gig down in Sandy for the Hale Center Art Center, and it's a series they do over the summer, where just cultural music, I guess. And it's outside. It's not in the theater. It was outside. And this is the part which is just like makes me go like, what the fuck, you fucking fucks? Which is they've got this little court area with like a little concrete area. Perfect. Right in front of a 12-foot high, 30-foot wide waterfall feature, making gushing water noises. So we're there trying to do sound check. I'm like, well, I can hear my guitar and the fucking fountain. I can hear the vocals and the fountain. Why are we playing in front of a water fountain? Turn it off. We're doing music here. This is not the place for music. There is a loud water fountain behind me. Whatever. I'm a mercenary. I get paid no matter what. So I don't care that much. But this part of me is like, who the fuck was like, oh, let's do a musical feature in front of a water fountain making water fountain noises the entire damn time. But whatever, like I say, God bless them. They hired us. I got paid. I should not complain.
Complaining's fun as hell.
Yeah, I can get it done any old time. I am about gassing out and need to.
Yeah, I haven't seen Charlie Dog.
Yeah, he's over there.
He usually comes and bugs the hell out of you by now.
I think I have the thing blocked off, but he's been a little snoozy too. I don't know if the rain changes him up or something, but he's been snoozy. But he's over there and he's staring at me like, "What the hell's going on?"
This seems to happen once every 7 days.
No, he can tell. He's smart enough. I come over here and he's like, "Oh."
Again?
Yeah. But yeah. Bill Real, we should do some live read ads for Bill Real stuff in the middle of our stuff. Just cut to a Bill Real ad.
No, I want
Hey
to.
guys, I got something to sell for you today, and what I'm going to sell to you is Bill Real's books for kids.
I want to do some fucking like full on video essay responses. God, that's the funniest thing that's happened. Those are the funniest things that we've covered. I'm not even kidding. I'm stoked about this.
I don't know. I don't like. I at the same time feel bad for teasing it so hard because he obviously thinks it's something worth doing.
No, he half-assed it.
No, there's that whole thing where it's like
I said he worth doing it.
Like
Yeah.
I've had 30 years of ideas for dumb little animated things I'd like to make, and at least he did it. In fact, that's things I still want to make it. I want to make
With
it
AI and those pictures and stuff.
Yeah,
Like, you remember
like,
how Jonathan made a hoax paper and made an image of the person for the hoax paper in like 5 minutes. You know,
that's things like because like I feel like if I did AI, that's just cheating, and I'm just doing it for attention and not for art. Because I still like I mean for more than a decade now, I've wanted to make an animated YouTube series just called The Jarvis Cocker Show. Do you guys know Jarvis Cocker? He was the lead singer of Pulp, English band Pulp, and the whole gimmick of the show.
I think you told us.
Yeah, I've told you about it. Yeah, I've told you about it. It's just about how like it's the Jarvis Cocker Show, and it's just him talking to other English musicians, and the whole thing is about how they're rich and famous and sad, and it's just about how they're just sad all the time. And like in in my show, Jarvis Cocker calls up Tom York. He's like, "Hello, Tom. How are you? Well, I'm sad. Did you try playing your guitar? I did. Did it make you happy? No. Tom, do you remember that time that your band revolutionized rock and roll and everybody thought you were great? Yes, Jarvis, I do. Did that make you happy? No, Jarvis, it didn't. and that's just the whole show. And I just imagine them, and then they go to the park, and and in the park they find Robert Smith is flying a kite. Do you like flying this kite? No, not really.
We were mentioning before that those types of guys can never have sex again because they can never give enthusiastic consent.
Oh, that's right.
It's out. If you're that type of person, it's just over for you. Because
Yeah,
even if you want it, you gotta chip her up and take off the face paint for a second.
And then you got Scarlett Johansson and Jessica Alba be like, "Hey, you want to do some stuff, buddy?" And he's like, "Yeah, I guess." And they're like, "Never mind. We don't want to rape you."
Not enthusiastic enough, man. Yeah. I was thinking of making a comic strip for a while about my ex-father-in-law because he was just the cheapest person around that you could ever imagine. Like, I remember one time we were like on a trip and we were gonna go swimming, and I didn't have a swimsuit, so we had to buy a swimsuit. And he drove around town to find the cheapest possible swimsuit, like at a Walmart. But the thing is he was going to take it back the next day anyway because he was going to get his money back. So he drove around and found the cheapest suit in town that he was going to take back anyway tomorrow. So it didn't matter if we spent $20. It didn't matter if we spent $10. He was going to get his money back. But no, we still had to find the $5 pair so he could go get his $5 back tomorrow. So it actually made it less worth going to get the money back for. Like, oh my gosh. That's just one of a million things. And I was wanting to make a cartoon of that dude, but yeah. But King of the Hill.
That's like a Kramer thing, like Seinfeld. Like they do a whole episode about Kramer getting the cheapest suit just so he could return it.
I was gonna call his name was Ray. I was gonna call it Ray's Money's Worth. And but I think King of the Hill kind of covered those types of guys pretty darn well too. But I just had real stories of them doing shit like that. But.
Man, I was just watching Simpsons, and I don't even remember what episode it was, but there's like a one-line cameo from Hank Hill, and it's just him going, "We drove 2,000 miles for this." It's just perfect.
I miss that stuff. I mentioned to you guys this week. I saw someone talk about it. I've been watching Simpsons. Maybe somebody else has. But when Marge and Homer are teenagers now they are teenagers in the 90s.
Yeah, I almost want to look that up and watch that and just see if it makes my blood boil.
How does it even work? Because like, is Abe Simpson like now like an Afghanistan vet or something? Because
yeah,
he was
He was a World War II vet.
It's all just
originally.
like, you can just throw the whole entire canon away, and now it's all just stupid whatever.
Yeah, like
maybe just keep him in. I don't know. I guess the idea is to keep him
bet you-
contemporary, but that's clearly not working. I don't think that's what's fucking up The Simpsons.
Nobody's really watched The Simpsons in 10 years, but I bet you if you actually like tried to map out whatever the hell they did with all the canon, I bet you it's the most scrambled up.
Americans aren't. Brazil still loves The Simpsons.
Yeah.
At least
Really?
when I was there.
Well, that's things. I talked to a lot of people who like a coworker, because I mentioned, and I don't, she's like a few years younger than me, but not by much. I said I love that show up until 1999, and after that, there's a handful of good episodes, but that's it. And she's like,
It's so
and she
sad.
said oh, I love it all, and it's like, because
Really?
for me, it's like there's to me, it's stark.
Who's still watching it?
Stark how different it was in the 90s and then after.
The Lotus Eater is just an episode today that it's been 3 months since there's been a late night television show on, and nobody knows, nobody cares. It's gone. It's gone.
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't need to come back. Nobody gives a shit.
Wait a minute.
And-
I think I felt pretty cool. We talked about this before, and I asked what the best Simpsons episode was, and I'm pretty sure it was the same one. I'm pretty sure I had the same
You guys
one.
had the same one. I think I always kind of went with Fallout Boy one.
I like
It's one
You
of my
Only
favorites.
Move Twice.
Yeah,
You Only
that's
Move
the
Twice is
one.
good. The PTA disbands is really good.
No, so the You Only Move Twice is the one I've talked about it a couple times before. I was gonna have this grand. I was the seminary class president. I was gonna have this grand gesture where I had 12 seasons of The Simpsons on DVD, hidden in a couple different guitar cases because I wasn't allowed to have them. But I was gonna take them all to seminary class. And I was gonna give everybody out a disc, and we were gonna break them to show our commitment. One of the cringiest things I ever nearly did. And then on the last day, see, me and my brother, he would sit in the recliner in my room, and I'd lay in my bed, and we'd fall asleep to The Simpsons every night. And we're like, let's do it one last time. And I put on You Only Move Twice. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I almost did this.
I bet you if I rewatched it right now, I'd just feel sad. Anytime I watch Seinfeld, I just feel sad. I just feel sad that it's all gone. We can't have nice things like this anymore. That's all I feel. I really do. It's what comedy's out there? What's a comedy besides some YouTube people being a little bit funny? There's no sitcom. There's no half an hour show to watch. I mean, maybe some cartoons.
The only series that once a year, South Park puts out 6 episodes.
Oh, yeah, there's still
That's
South
it.
Park. Yeah, what's the deal with how low it is?
I don't know.
Well, Comedy Central lets them do what they want. That's
Yeah.
one of the very few networks that has figured that out.
Yeah,
FX has kind of figured it out too.
For one thing,
with some of their things, but
those guys are billionaires now. The South Park guys, I think, are billionaires now.
Are they?
This is a thing I didn't realize. I learned I don't know. I learned it from journalism. Somebody wrote about it. But apparently way back when they negotiated their initial contract with Comedy Central or whatever it was for South Park,
They got merchandise.
they got something like 50% of internet revenue,
Oh man.
which they got because the internet was nothing then. And they just we'll take half of nothing. And they're billionaires because of it.
That's so crazy. I don't know. I'm sure there's stuff out there. I should get into what's that Canadian show, Trailer Park Boys or Letterkenny, stuff to that.
I love Trailer Park Boys.
The first the first few years of Trailer Park Boys, because they made 12 seasons over 25 years.
Once Netflix picks it up, it's
as the
And then
guys got older, it really started to.
Oh really?
go
I
bad.
didn't know that one fell off. I thought it was supposedly.
You know what's funny? I was just talking to a Canadian came into work. Oh, what happened?
You're there. It's
I guess
it was you.
my computer went to sleep. Because the Canadian was from Alberta, and I talked about Red Green Show.
Oh,
and
I love
And
that
I mentioned
show.
about how the first 3-4 seasons of that show were some of the best TV.
Did
in
that
the
fall
90s.
off?
Oh, it fell off hard.
I didn't know
fell
that
off
one
a
fell off.
cliff. And I asked him about him, like, like what happened to that show? And he just said something like the pressure got to him. Like he just like he was totally
Writer's
overwhelmed.
block.
Yeah, like just that, and like it got really huge, and like I think originally he did it like they did it for no money. It was a passion project, and then it became huge, and it became like a chore, I guess. Where it's like, oh shit, I have to keep making this show. And yeah, because like the early seasons of that were brilliant, and then it just got stupid. It got so.
I must have only seen
in.
the early seasons because I only caught it here and there when I could catch
the later
it. I never
seasons
caught one that wasn't
in.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch through all of Peep Show?
No, I haven't. I love those guys, and I never watched all of Peep Show.
It never gets bad.
Really?
I love the whole thing.
I probably watched most of it, but not in order.
I fucking love that show.
I watched like an episode or two, but then I just went back to watching Mitchell and Webb. Homeopathic Hospital. Still one of the greatest.
Oh man, that sounds great.
Oh, do you not know the Homeopathic Hospital skit?
I haven't watched any of Mitchell and Webb. I've watched I watched all of
you
Peep
watched
Show.
all of Peep Show and watched not. See, we have the opposite problem. I watched all of Mitchell and Webb multiple times, and I never.
I've
watched
caught
Peep Show.
tons of both of them just on the internet, and I don't know what random one is what.
So they've talked about. Seriously, Peep Show never gets bad. I love every episode of that. And they've talked about before. Somebody asked them, "Will you ever bring it back?" And they said, "If our plan is." When we get really, really old, if somebody lets us bring it back, we will. I'm like, oh my God, that'd be amazing. I'd watch this that.
All right.
Yeah.
I gotta walk to Pooge. Thanks for chilling, everybody. Space Ghost, Coast to Ghost.
Oh man. That was
cartoons. I bet you
Pavement was on Space Ghost. There's an episode of Pavement where they fire what's his name? The fucking Mantis character. The name escapes me all of a sudden.
Zordak.
Zorak, and
Zorak. Yeah,
they hire Pavement to fill in.
All right.
Cool.
Excellent.
Next time.
Later. All right.